Debbie does Dallas.
Debbie does. One day I will be on here. But I got Captain Ron here.
Welcome to America's hottest talk line. Guys, hot ladies are waiting to talk to you.
Vinegar syndrome. Guys.
It's on Netflix if you want to watch it.
There's a new one, and that's Air Force One.
Get off my plane. I think Sony paid you a bunch of money to talk about all their steelbooks tonight.
The screen movies for the stuff, but you know,
are we seriously gonna have to talk about the screen movies again?
If you only see one movie this year, it should be Frankenhooker, Bill Murray, Ghostbusters, Caddyshack, Zombieland.
This is a movie I didn't think I'd like as much as I did, and I know it was like really popular because it like won some Oscars and whatever, but
Debbie does Dallas.
For actually showing something is they actually produced crew jackets. Like the movie never went into production, but it is it's got a Delta Force 2 motion.
Hey, that works either way.
That's cool.
Is anyone even there still? I don't even know.
Yeah, we're just listening.
Okay.
I
was like, no one's saying it. Like,
really
is this a story?
Bye, bye, runner.
You too, buddy.
And he's out just like that. Mike dropped it, and he's gone. Hello, fellow followers. Welcome back to the Physical Media Show here on FanZcene Vids. Glad to have you all here. Glad to be here tonight with me, with Tom Connors and Rookie, new runner. How you guys doing?
Doing
What's
the best
up, man?
I can.
I'm excited to rip Scream off again with Tom.
Yeah, we're going to rip that Band-Aid off here soon. We'll get to it in a minute. But let's say hello to the chat real quick. We have Tim Hayes in the chat as always. What is up, Tim Hayes? Glad to have you here with us every Wednesday night. This is the place to be for physical media lovers and for lovers of all types. So, yes, thanks for hanging with us. Random Brad, what is up? I'm glad to see you in the chat. I hope you're feeling better, buddy. I know you've been down on the with something there. So get down with the sickness. What's up, Style Section? Yes, get ready for a Scream episode. We're going to try to pull that Band-Aid quick because I know you guys know about it. We'll try to get it out of the way quick so it's not a Scream episode for you guys. So we'll get to that. What's up, Deleted Scene? Salute to you. Let's see who else we got here. We have Anthony Draven. Hail, Anthony Draven. Glad to have you here. Cool Gamer with the Windows logo, as always. Doug 1985, Virginia Loves Horror. What is up? Tyrell 72. Hail Tyrell 72. How are you this evening, night, whatever time it is where you guys are? Adapter Writer. Background music is pretty loud. Yeah, I probably got to fix that music a little bit on that. I've been trying to adjust that here and there. But that was, I'm going to fix it. What is up, Bruce Todd? He says good morning. He's fellow UK. What is up? Corley and Rogue, how are you doing this evening? Joey, yo-ho, and a bottle of whatever is your pleasure. Pepto-Bismol. No. Doba Fett, howdy, how you doing? Ace Hanlon, Scream 6 is shit. Well, Scream 5 is shit too. And we probably already got quite it there because we already said that. Look, he's already ready. Look, he's got him. I still
Why do I do this to myself? They're still in the plat.
Oh, you love it.
What is
No, I got them because maybe I can flip them later on for like 3 times what I paid for them.
Hopefully, because them steelbooks, especially those, I don't.
Oh yeah.
I'm sure you'll make good money on them, but they're not going to be as good as the originals on their 4K steelbooks. But with all that being said, thank you guys. Glad to have you in the chat. Glad you're feeling a little better there, Random Brad. Yes. I'm digging Tom's background, man. I need to set up my Halloween
make it
background.
big if you want for a second.
Yeah, go ahead. I'll go ahead. Look at that. I love it. Guys, Tom's doing it up for Halloween.
I got my Roomba running underneath me right now. It's just like, you're perfect timing. He wants to be a part of the show too.
It's just like your cat and Sadie.
Keep watching, the images might change back there.
Ooh. Oh, hey, look, we just got a Tom Vampire though.
Yes, and Gary.
Instead of watch for it to change back there, then he like takes the camera off. So it's like, well, we can't.
Yeah, well, I ain't gonna do it live. I got to change it myself. Sadly,
Yeah,
I was kind of pissed when how much I paid for it. I'm like, what? I got to do this manually? Fuck you.
I was like, okay, it'll just change any second now. Oh no.
I know. I bought some LED lights I was going to put around my movie shelves to make it glow. And it's like, you got to plug them into a plug. And I'm like, I just thought they could
three other lights. I got 3 other lights going on, but you can't really see what they are. I got to put like a white sheet up here sometimes because one's Friday the 13th, one's Chucky, and one's Nightmare Before Christmas. But if you look close enough, you can kind of make out the Nightmare Before Christmas ones down there because they're white.
Oh, yeah, I see.
Like there's Jason's mask. I don't know if you just saw the mask go by.
I saw Jack Skeleton.
Yeah. Anyway, you might see Chucky's face. There's Jason's mask's pretty easy to make out. But yeah. Anyway.
Yeah, I see him. Yeah.
Someday I'll come up with something better. Make it work better.
Funny, Joey. Bead predictions too. I
got Freddy looking over me.
I know. Bitch. Good evening, Rick Johnson. How are you?
Good evening.
Good evening. I figured since Tom's a vampire, I'll be the werewolf because I was partial to the Wolfman. He's my favorite movie monster from the Universal. Yep. You just can't beat Wolfman, Dracula, and Frankenstein. You can't beat them. You can't beat them.
Nope.
And when suddenly, to my surprise,
He did the mash.
he did the monster mash.
The monster mash.
It was a
Tom's just
great.
here. He's ready for Halloween more than anything.
Oh man, I'm ready too. But what you guys want to talk about before we get into this thing here? Let's. You got the 4K for you thing brought up. Okay, I'll show you Tom's 4K for you thing with all the upcoming releases, and then we'll get into the show. So get ready, guys.
All right. Should I play? Well, yeah.
Yeah, play however you feel comfortable.
Hello and welcome to your 4K for you news and rumors for the week of October 4th, 2023. On the 17th of October, you can expect Barbie to hit home video, as well as Disney's Haunted Mansion and The Walking Dead Complete Collection. On November 3rd, we can finally expect Sound of Freedom on Blu-ray and DVD, no 4K release yet, from VidAngel Studios. Black Hawk Down will be getting a 4K steelbook on the 7th of November. Equalizer 3 is hitting 4K on the 14th of November. The Fugitive will see a 4K and Best Buy steelbook exclusive release on the 21st of November. Titanic will be hitting 4K on the 5th of December. If you weren't able to pick up Cutthroat Island through the import from Studio Canal, it will be getting a release from Lionsgate in January of next year, so stay tuned for a date on that. The Nun 2 will hit video on the 14th of November. Sandman Season 1 will be hitting 4K on the 28th of November, also from Warner Brothers. The Warriors 4K from Arrow on the 12th of December. And they will also be releasing the 4K Chucky collection that day as well. Now, keep in mind, the first film appears to be the exact same Blu-ray that MGM released back in 2012. So there's no 4K for that one. But as opposed to the Shout Studios release here in the US, the unrated version of Seed with Chucky does appear to be in 4K in that version. So we'll have to see how that release pans out. No word on differences in special features yet either, but we'll try to keep you updated. Vinegar Syndrome has a ton of great releases coming. In fact, on November 28th, for the first time on Blu-ray and 4K, we'll get Daryl and the Prophecy Trilogy. Renfield will be hitting 4K from Turbine Media on the 31st of December, as will Pearl in a steelbook form. High Tension comes from Second Sight Films on the 28th of November. And Fortune Star will be doing 2K restorations of the Ninja Turtle films. They will hit on the 6th of December. Now, those would probably be only Japan releases because Golden Harvest owns the rights to all the films over there, which is now Fortune Star. So keep you posted on those. Santa Claus the Movie will be coming out from Studio Canal in the UK on the 13th of November. On the 12th of December, Kino Lorber will be releasing Face Off in 4K finally. Point Break will be hitting December 5th in a steelbook and standard edition from Shout. Speaking of Shout, they have a slew of other releases. On the 12th, you can expect Shaun the Sheep Complete Collection, Clue, as well as the Ring Collection on the 19th, and JFK, the 1991 Oliver Stone film. The Dead Zone also on the 19th, the Stephen King film. And on the 26th, the day after Christmas, you can expect The Man in the Iron Mask in 4K as well. Looks like Spectrum Films will be releasing Shin Godzilla in 4K on the 19th of December. And we can expect The Abyss and Aliens in 4K sometime next year. That is everything for this week. Thank you, everybody. Hello and welcome to 4K for You News.
Since we never did show this
September
one, if you
6th,
want, this is the one
2023.
before that.
Rudy is coming to 4K Steelbook
just
in
bought
a
The Abyss.
special theatrical and director's
Yeah, go
cut
ahead.
edition. You can catch that on the 14th
I'm
of
gonna anyway,
November
'cause I
from
get
Sony.
you.
The Nun 2 is coming to 4K on the 14th of November from Warner Brothers. The Equalizer 3 is coming to 4K on the 14th as well from Sony. The Ginger Snaps trilogy is coming to Blu-ray on the 30th of October, just in time for Halloween from Second Sight Films. Here's a look at all the versions of Gran Turismo you can find on the 31st of October from Sony. Shout Factory and Scream Factory have a ton of great announcements coming up for November, including Tales from the Dark Side, the movie in 4K, coming November 28th. Fargo on the 7th in 4K. Silver Bullet you can expect on November 21st in 4K. And Farscape, the complete series, on the 21st as well on regular Blu-ray. Death Wish is also coming to 4K. That would be the remake from Eli Roth. That's coming out on the 28th of November. On November 14th, they will be releasing the Sonny Shiba Collection Volume 2. On that same day, you can pick up Surviving the Game. And also on the 21st of November, for the first time on Blu-ray, in the US that is, Police Academy 1 through 7 will be coming from Shout Factory. Now, we have very little information on whether or not there'll be any new special features or anything like that. Amazon is listing them with a 5.1 sound mix, though, and anybody who knows, all those movies were in mono. So stay tuned for more news on that. Speaking of Police, there's a look at the Naked Gun 4K Steelbook from Paramount. Now, funnily enough, they removed the gun. Maybe we'll talk about that on the show. Paramount is also releasing on the 14th of November Terms of Endearment, the 40th anniversary in 4K. South Park Streaming Wars special is coming to Blu-ray on the 7th of November from Paramount. Warner Brothers is re-releasing Evil Dead Rise in a Best Buy exclusive steelbook on the 3rd of October. Blue Steel is coming November 14th from Vestron in Lionsgate on Blu-ray. Lay Misty for Me is coming to 4K later this year from Kino Lorber. Speaking of Kino Lorber, they announced that Babes in Toyland, the 1986 film with Keanu Reeves and Drew Barrymore, will be coming the 21st of November. The 1953 classic.
Wait a minute. Is this true, Greg?
I have no clue.
You already own it.
I've never seen that movie ever. I
A
don't know how these
pristine
rumors
copy.
start. You know, I'm excited, but this was the only way you could own it till now. So
Yeah, I know. I had to pick on you because you were making a big deal.
Drew Barrymore will be coming the 21st of November. The 1953 classic Stalag 17 is coming to 4K on the 21st of November from Kino Lorber in a 70th anniversary special edition. You can add Alexander to the JFK News coming to 4K sometime next year from Warner Brothers. Universal is releasing some Essentials 4K Blu-rays. Now, these are movies that were released before, but now they're coming in a fancy new package. As far as we can tell, the discs are exactly the same as the old ones. You can expect Schindler's List and National Lampoon's Animal House on the 31st of October. In the rumor mill, we only have a pair. RoboCop 2 coming soon in 4K. We'll have to see, as well as the remake of Texas Chainsaw Massacre, also being rumored coming soon to 4K. See you on the show. Thanks a lot, guys.
All right.
all right,
That's
all
everything
right.
from the last month.
That's a lot of
That's
stuff.
pretty cool. It's pretty cool. I just saw Alexander. I just bought The Abyss. It took forever. I was trying to get that for a while, and the only way to get it was on Amazon for a little
Yeah.
bit. But it wasn't even available for even DVD for a while. So
Yeah,
it's cool. It's actually getting a 4K release then.
It's
That's one I haven't seen yet. Actually, I bought it and I need to watch it.
your
So,
DVD or Blu-ray might be better than the actual 4K we're going to be getting of The Abyss.
oh
There
really?
wasn't very good news coming out of the Abyss screening. Yeah,
Really?
yeah, they
Oh
were saying
no,
it
it's
was
disappointing. No.
DNR did death and all kinds of things. So yeah, it's not looking good for that. So yeah, The Abyss was one of those Cameron movies that so many people waited so many years for. That, Aliens, and True Lies. And for whatever reason, we talk about a 4K for You. Cameron has this hard on for trying to make his movies look like they're shot now instead of the time they were shot in. He DNRs it. He likes to put it in the high frame rate. It's just.
Well, wait. So you mean like when he's filming, or like after it's filmed and they're making the DVDs and stuff? You're muted, Tom.
You're muted,
After
Tom.
the fact, in this case.
Yeah, after
Okay.
the fact.
Wow.
Yeah. He likes to. He likes to fiddle with his films.
He's a film fiddler.
Yeah. It's like we talk about every single freaking director in Hollywood says, turn off your motion smoothness, make sure it looks like this, so you preserve the film so it looks like a film, like a movie. And then you get James Cameron and Peter Jackson's like, no, you know how everybody tells you to turn it off, turn it back on.
They turn it on for you and they force you to have it on.
Yeah, they turn it on for you in their news releases. So it sucks.
I imagine that works better for certain films, but I don't know.
It doesn't
especially
work
after
good
the
for
fact. I
any
don't know.
films.
That's weird.
Especially films from the past that were
I'm trying
actually
to say,
shot on
like,
film.
Because he did Avatar, right?
Yeah.
I mean, well, actually, no, never mind. I was thinking about something else with it. No, I mean, I kind of, I don't know how that was shot specifically. If trying to change it would matter as much, but I don't know.
No, it's yeah.
Well, they tried so hard to make digital video shoot like film for years, just so these guys could turn around and try to make it look like video again.
Yeah.
Yeah, we go through phases, I guess, don't we?
I give up. Anyway, what are we doing here?
A buddy, Black Angus Reviews, brought up something kind of funny. I was like, hey, I'm going on the Physical Media show tonight. And he was like, well, yeah, but isn't that like digital, how you guys do that? And I was like, oh, that's like a funny sense of like, do you have a Physical Media show, physical copy of the show? FanZcene? In the works.
Physical copy of the Physical Media show? Is that what he's asking? Ha 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 ha.
I was just like, oh, that'd be something. Yes.
Oh,
that's all. Yes, thank. Oh, that would have been.
I've made better dad jokes.
I know. I didn't think about how to present it because right before the show, and I was like, how do I do it?
And there we lost Greg again. So we gotta
either I killed him or he's got a lost signal here.
That was a horrible fucking joke.
Mm-hmm. I didn't have time to like come up with it. I was like, he
Greg's
said
like,
the digital, and we're talking physical media, but it has to be through a digital means, and we don't have physical thing, and I couldn't come up with the joke for it yet. Nope. F's in the chat. Sorry, yep. But that's all good. I'm eager McBeaver to talk about.
I'm scared now that Greg's not here.
No, he'll come back. Who knows? Chat, how you doing tonight with that stuff there? That's fun. You made it funny. I attempted to make it funny, but I think it completely failed. It destroyed FanZcene. He's like, dude, I am so embarrassed. I gotta yeet out of here. Yeah, thank you.
Done.
Yep.
It's
there you go.
Me off, man. I gotta call my cable internet people.
Yeah.
Oh, it's like that's twice. It's been happening once a day. Now it's twice in today. The internet just drops and cuts out.
Yeah, that's happening to me for a little bit until it was just like completely, it crapped out completely. It could be some wiring that needs fixing or whatever outside or something. Yeah. Call somebody out to check it out because, it'd be a good idea to get that checked out.
It's insane. What'd I miss?
I made a horrible joke. I was trying to Black Angus.
That's why we thought you left.
Yeah, I told Black Angus Reviews that I'm going to be on the Physical Media show again. He forgets that it's on Wednesdays, and he was like, "Well, yeah, but isn't that show delivered through digital? Like we're not a physical media literally show, but it's for." Yeah, and I botched the joke anyway. So it was like, so let's have physical media show copies or something. Like, it failed entirely.
I can tell.
The chat pities me. They're like, you silly boy. Yeah,
that's a bad joke. Yes,
I don't know if they pity you.
But it means we have to do digital to show our physical, but it happens. But since I'm back and hopefully barring no other interruptions from my dumbass internet, I figured since you got all the steelbooks, Tom, I'll show mine first and then you can show yours and then we'll start the conversation. What? I keep trying to think of the Master P song. It keeps like popping in my head and slipping out. Yeah.
Scream. I hear him coming. I see him coming.
So yes, I have Scream 3 on 4K, and then I brought these just because. And here's my steelbook. Trying to do it without the glare here. Whatever, but there's that, and then my camera's of course blurry, and then Scream 2, and then Scream 4, which is Blu-ray, and then of course these. All right, so you guys saw all my Scream, so Tom, let's see yours.
You're muted again. There you go.
So this is, I'll show you mine. If you show me yours. Do you like scary movies?
I'm more into arty fartsy films and drama, so.
Who is this, Runner?
Snyder, man, Snyder.
I thought I called Greg. I'm sorry. I have the wrong number. This
Don't
time.
Breathe is pretty good, and the Whiplash is pretty awesome.
Oh God.
We're not done yet.
At least that's what Paramount said when they're like, we got more to release here.
Yes.
Because as we brought up before, I have the Steelbook just like Greg. But I did get lucky enough to get my hands on the Steelbook of Scream 2. Nice, just like that one. I even, as I showed before, was a stupid ass and bought these stupid
I
things.
still can't believe you bought those.
Well, you'll notice something sticks out with Scream 3 like a sore thumb.
That's why I didn't go for that one.
Now, it's not as red as you would think. It looks a lot more red around screen.
It does, yeah.
It's a little bit more darker maroonish red. But I don't hate it. I just wish it was black instead of red. Because I actually like this teaser poster. Then inside you get the whole cast or whatever like they would be on the regular poster, which is just like the one you showed.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, I got Scream 4 as well. Which we should be getting a 4K release of this eventually. So
yeah. And I just got the fancy
eventually.
But
yeah, so we're going to try to avoid talking about the movie, I guess, is the plan, so much as just the transfer, I guess. Is that what we're going to talk more about?
However you
we'll let Rookie talk a little bit about it since,
he's never been here. I mean, we've done it. We have done it to death. Yeah.
We have talked about Scream so many damn times.
Yeah, I'm the new kid on the block who's like.
I have that version somewhere too.
Yeah, I got this. Literally, it's like right after I watched these with Justin Proper a little bit. I was like, okay, which one should I get? And then I bought it immediately right after, and I got it within like a day or two. And I think I was able to show it on the physical media show. That's where the clip of me. I'm like, oh, here's the Scream. I got the Scream. And whatnot. I still haven't watched the 2 documentaries yet, but that is my goal between now and next year. I also got the 6-pack, mostly so I can just have Scream 4 as well, because I didn't have that. And 5 and 6 are tacked on there. Yeah, we all know how those are pretty much. But
Scream 4 I just Blu-ray re-release too.
Okay.
With a new slip cover.
Yeah, I got.
I actually kind of like the slip cover. I was thinking about getting it just for the fucking slip cover.
That's good.
I know.
There it is.
Yeah,
that's it. Doesn't that look bitchin'? I kind of like it.
That's kind of good. Yeah.
Yeah. So I do like it.
So it was kind of funny. So when I was last year or earlier this year, I watched all the Scream films for the first time around when the 6th one came out, and so this is the first time in the last month or so that I've rewatched any of them. And the first one on here is like in letterbox form, and that confused the shit out of me. Because I was like, I bought the DVDs usually the widescreen or full screen or something, and it was like a box, and I was like, what the hell is that? I thought there was something wrong with the settings, or that I bought a weird DVD thing or something. All the rest were normal and widescreen, and then it even says it on the back here that's in letterbox. So I just didn't know. I guess I never had one in the letterbox or in a way that was that noticeable before. I don't know.
Weird.
So there you go. I learned though with that. But the first Scream was in letterbox format when I was watching.
Oh, and really? So they didn't even upgrade the fucking DVD yet of that?
Yeah, so that's what confused me, because the rest were all normal.
That is one of the world's oldest DVDs, dude. That was an early ass release, man. It's a straight up rip of the Laserdisc. In fact, Scream 2 was like that initially too, but they re-released Scream 2. But I didn't realize Scream 1 and they never re-released. That's weird.
It was that's why it was so weird, because I bought the 6-pack thing and I was checking them out again, and it was just all tinier, and I was like, well, why
the upside of that is that might actually be the director's cut.
I guess it doesn't say specifically, so I'm not.
That's
sure
what I'm saying. It might not, because
it never states.
That's the thing, because here's the thing that people don't know. When they released Scream on Laserdisc, they did a special edition where it was the director's cut, and they released it on video as well. And by director's cut, it's literally like 30 seconds or so worth of extra footage. You can go out on YouTube and you can find it. It's like the zoom in to the zoom. You'll know it because you can go check out the YouTube footage and then you can cross-reference it with your disc. Because I can't remember now if for some reason in my brain, the DVD, I swear, was the director's cut, because I had the video of the director's cut. And what it is it zooms in slower on Drew Barrymore in the beginning. And then I think the rest of it is at the end when the guys are stabbing each other. In the movie, they stab each other like, what, twice or 3 times? But in the director's cut, they stab each other like 7 fucking times. And especially Stu.
I think it is that one. They got stabbed quite a few times in this one.
I was gonna say, because Stu really gets fucking stabbed like 3-4 times.
He does his initial stab, and then he stabs him, and he's like, let me do it again. And
does he have like the real quick like that one in it?
There's a couple, I think it was
that might be the director's cut.
I think it was two extra jabs, like 2 quick jabs.
When they gut Casey's boyfriend, it shows more of the guts.
Yes, it's a wider shot. Yeah.
Okay. That's the differences. Okay, yeah, that's the one.
You actually see his guts kind of spill out and hit the ground. Yeah.
The cut we have now doesn't have any of that.
No,
and they never let people know those were the director's cut, other than the Laserdisc. Everything else, so when they released it
on the blue version here, I say the Blu-ray version here, whatever. This has the non-director's cut.
That'd be the R-rated cut, yeah. And it's literally, like I said, like 30 seconds worth of footage. It's because they made him cut it to get an R rating, basically.
Yeah.
Okay. I guess that makes sense for it. More appeal to the wider audiences with that.
But yeah, if you always want to double check, like I said, there's YouTube videos out there that show the difference, so you can cross-reference it.
Yeah, it was just the first time that I like encountered that on a DVD or on a disc or whatever. I was just like, okay, in the modern day especially. But no, I freaking love Scream. You guys you guys know, it skyrocketed to be one of my favorite franchises out there.
What did you think of 4 again? You like, or 5? You like 5?
Well, no, I did not like 5.
No. Oh, that's right. 5 you didn't like. That's right.
But 6, I think there's merits that are redeemable, but overall it's shit. Like, it is like, if like I said, there's just some parts of it that are okay at the beginning, and the rest is all shit. That's what that is. Scream 4, I like a lot of Scream 4, but yeah, when it comes down to it at the end, like the spoilers, I guess, if anybody hasn't seen it, you know, the niece or whatever, like, I can't believe that she's like the killer, really. And same with
yes and no. It makes sense story-wise, but then when you're like going back, you're like, there's no way that little bitch could kill anybody.
That's what I'm getting at. Like, the physicality of it. I'm like, I just don't believe that you can physically do all of that. Like, and even her friend, that skinny like gamer dude, like, I just
Kareem Culkin or whatever it is.
Really hard for me, because I'm like,
he's like the same size as her too.
I don't know, man.
That was my problem with more so with 4 or 5. I mean, because especially when Dewey gets killed, because
those
it's
were
like
even smaller people than them. And number
that's what 4. I mean. It's like, what the hell? How could anybody that small kill Dewey? Like, that makes no sense.
It's also so just bad. Like these teenagers are doing this. Like, I liked Billy and Stu, and like how they're physical. Like they
seem believably that size, because yes, Matthew Lillard's a tall guy. Skeet Ulrich is kind of built. Even Laurie Metcalf in the second one, you can kind of buy her as a little stockier.
Got mom strength. She's got mom
exactly. Got mom strength.
And she's not a short lady. She's not a short lady too. So she works.
Yeah. And Mickey or Mikey, I keep on getting his name mixed up.
She's got mom strength.
And Mickey, of course, he's Timothy Olyphant, so you know he plays a
Billy's mother.
Well, I like the number 2. So rewatching Scream 2, I was able to more easily follow which one was Ghostface at which time. Especially
Scream 2 is the tightest of all the films.
Yeah, I was like, I can tell that he got his head. They show the bump.
1 is the better of all of them, but 2 is definitely the tighter edited screenplay. Which is funny because they had to rewrite the whole ending. because it leaked online.
Yeah, they had to
Right.
change. She was never going to be Billy's mom to begin with.
Yeah,
I
it
don't
was. No, I don't think so. I think Laurie Metcalf, I think, was added later on. I think it was just supposed
Yeah.
to be. It was just supposed to be
Be
Mickey.
Wasn't it supposed to be her
and-
boyfriend again too?
It was either going to be Mickey
No,
and
the roommate, her roommate.
her roommate, the black girl. Yeah,
Yeah,
what's her
yeah.
face? Not Cece, but
I know who you're talking about.
I can't remember her name in it.
I
But
don't
yeah,
remember her
I mean,
name
she's the
either.
roommate or the black girl. I mean,
yeah.
that's
And
just
as far as
kinda-
the scans, I mean, this is on par with the rest of them. Now,
Yeah.
you said it was probably the best of them, Greg.
It
I would
was, but
honestly
the-
say the first one looks the most filmic, but at the same time, this is definitely of its era as far as the 2000s of
Yeah.
how stuff looked.
This is, I mean, this is why I keep on saying that 1, 2, and 3 are all great in what they are in a trilogy, essentially, because they all are good, but for different reasons. Essentially, they all achieve what they need to. Scream
Mhm.
3, I think, is my favorite of all of them. Like, I don't think it's the best,
Oh,
but
really?
that just, I don't know, just I really like that one because she, just the detail too, all the details of like she has secluded herself. She has a gate. She's in the woods basically. She's got a dog. She's got a
You want
security
the
system
truth?
around her house. Go ahead, yeah.
I was gonna say, for me anyway, I used to stick up for 3 all the time. Watching it this time, and this is probably the first time I've seen it in. So I'm trying to remember if I actually rewatched it for our Scream talk last time or not. I don't think I did. I think I just watched the first 2 and the
Right.
newer one. This one took a little step down for me this time out. There's a
Really?
few things I'm
What
going.
changed with it that makes you think that?
Okay, well, this time one of them was what was it? Because first of all, Greg is right. Like it's clearly set up because the movie didn't leak out. I see they're talking about in part 3. Nor did I think the killers. But I think after a test screening, they decided to slim it down to 1 killer.
Mhm.
And Greg was right. They had originally it was the other girl who played Sydney was the other
Sydney.
killer.
Yeah.
And,
I think Parker Posley was supposed
It's
to be
still
one of them
in
that one
there.
time,
I don't
too.
think she may have been, but I don't know for sure. But it's clearly set up in a movie where she's supposed to be working with Roman.
Mhm.
And
Like the whole scene where like they think they kill Roman down there. That was like you could tell there was supposed to be another person.
and I'm drawing a blank now. There was something else where I'm going, how the fuck would Sydney know this? And it was a part in the 3rd act. I'm trying to remember. Or if it wasn't Sydney, it was some other character. Somebody would know something about. I'm trying to remember. There was something that didn't set right with me. Oh, I remember what it was. It's not Sydney. Roman. Like, how is he able? First of all, he's bitching because he's got a shitty life. He's literally directing the 3rd film in the fucking Stab franchise, and he's like in his 20s. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
doing pretty good for himself. Plus, how the fuck did he manage to work himself into that without the other guy playing a part in it too? Right? Like that's the other thing that makes no sense
Mhm.
because he kills him at the end and he has no idea what he's talking about and all that kind of shit. So, because part of me when I first seen this, I always thought that the Lance Hendrickson character knew that Roman was her daughter or her son,
Yeah, yeah.
and he was probably his dad.
Are you talking
His
about
dad.
the head film guy?
Yeah, and I think it was always kind of implied that he was his father as well.
Yeah,
Remember?
I kind of assumed
Yeah,
that
yeah.
he might not have known specific details, but that he knew a little bit of like history.
Yeah, and
Oh,
see,
and
now this
kind of
time out,
allowed
I
it.
was almost convinced that he was completely taken by surprise by Roman, and I'm like, wait a minute.
I do kind of wish watching it. Yeah, I wish that him knowing he doesn't have to be a killer, but if him sort of allowing things to happen, looking the other way, kind of like how Hollywood might do.
Well, yeah, because when he gets
general,
busted, he
like-
clearly knows, right? And that's what
Yeah.
threw me off every time I'd seen it before. Because when you got Parker Posey, she's like, you knew and you didn't, and she's like, take it down a notch, you know, like.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess
And she's
I
like-
chalk it up to like that just being the Hollywood attitude, I guess. So like even if he is doing something bad and he knows it, he would hardly care because he's got skeletons in his closet too, or everybody knows everybody's skeletons or something. I'm not sure.
Well, it
Exactly.
doesn't make any sense altogether if that guy knows Roman's his kid unless he's in on the whole deal. That's the problem.
Right, right.
But at the same time, yes, I get what you're saying, but like he could have kind of half-assed blackmailed him at some point. But they don't even play it like that. That's my problem.
No,
Yeah,
I think
they
you're right. So that was something I actually wanted to bring up with you guys because like even though I like it,
This
the
is
most,
true.
I
Lance
feel like
Hendrickson, he's basically Weinstein.
yeah,
It's funny how they got that back.
told me that, I was just like, well, that's who I'm going to refer to him as now. He's Weinstein. Basically.
You do know who produced these movies, right?
That's what he told me. And then I was like, what? And so he told me that
the brother had control of Dimension, but
right. So even though this is like my favorite one, I had a lot of like sort of, is that really this guy by himself was able to do not only orchestrate the first, two killers essentially for Billy and Stu, push them in their direction the way that they went, and then also in this one have everything work out this way. He had to draw Sidney out. He had to he had to be the director for Stab 3, a franchise that he did not create. And there's just some elements that I kind of wish
the Sidney part wasn't as bad.
If they're just slightly more put together for him, maybe orchestrating it rather than him being fully responsible for it. Like even if there's not another killer, but a couple of accomplices in some way, it would have been fine. Like where maybe they don't even know he's killing, but they're aware of some aspects of whatever he wants to do, his drive for it. Like, I want to draw my sister out so I can see her or something. Like, I don't know, just something. I don't know what it would be, but so something to make it a little tighter, because there's a lot here that works, but you're right. There's some parts that make us like.
It's mostly in that third act where it starts to kind of, you're going, wait a minute here. That's where I said I was trying to kind of ask some questions this time around that I must not have picked up on in the, I don't know, a dozen times I've seen it before, more at least.
Yeah. Another thing too for me, it was that there seemed to be a lot of areas where like, he could get thrown around. He could probably get, he went up against like, big security guard, all these things that blew up the house.
Thing like with that doesn't really matter, because as you see, especially in Scream 4, when there's 5 foot nothing.
I know.
Slowing around. So you got to suspend a little disbelief with the
I get that, but I'm saying in terms of him planning, he seems like one who wants to separate himself a little bit from the direct blame, because he still wants to have a successful life ahead of him while also getting revenge.
That's like the whole woe is me. That's like
and that's just it. His motivation is really kind of thin, because the whole point is he wanted to kill his mother when she
my mommy liked you, not me. And
he already got that, right? Like, but now the problem is she survived, because he even says that in the end of the thing. He's like, who knew Billy and Stu were going to go make their own movie when they were setting her up to get killed? Remember,
he didn't expect them.
He didn't expect
his mom dead. So.
And not only that, he turned around and her surviving turned her into the ultimate victim star, and that's what really kind of irked them, I guess. But that's what I'm saying is like, dude, you're a fucking director. Like, what the hell? Like, how much
then
more
again,
do
he's
you
also
need?
a psychotic, so
yeah, I guess. But I mean, it's just I'm watching it this time out, and I'm just like this time I like it less than I did every time before. For some reason, I don't know what it was about it that I started asking myself those questions I never asked before.
I think that's needed sometimes, and it takes a while to, especially with a film you love, to really like. What could you pick apart if you were to pick it apart? What would you do? And
I like Scream 3. I don't think it is the best of the movies. I do have a lot of problems. Like you guys, I have a lot of problems.
See, for me, they should have done something to where, here, maybe this would, if you guys get what I'm saying. Like, they should have made it to where the first killing, like the killing of Cotton Weary, was completely unrelated, but his movie got shut down because of it. Then he starts to react. Because at that point, they even say it in the one part, like, Cotton had a lot of fucking enemies, especially when he's doing like this, basically Jerry Springer type show or whatever, or worse. Yeah. More like, actually, he's kind of being more like, Morton Downey Jr. And at that point, that's what they should have done, is just had it been some crazed fucking fan did it, and they could never figure out who it was. And then that's what set the whole thing in motion in that point. Because other than that, like, really, if you think about it, even though Sydney's still a star, she's living in fucking terror in the middle of fucking nowhere. Like, Roman should even take some solace in that at that point, right?
I could see where you're coming from, because that could have actually helped out with like since there's no second killer in this, because like, okay, you start the movie and it's something different too. You start the movie, Cotton Weary gets killed, and you think it's Ghostface, and then that sets Roman up to set up his where he wants to go, and then you catch that killer like near the end, at the end of the second
somewhere
act,
in the second act,
and then they think, oh, we got Ghostface, we get him out of the way early, we got him, and then you did the big reveal of, guess what, I'm Roman, I didn't kill Cotton, I'm your brother, but I'm going to kill you now.
Yeah, you have the cop come back and go, we can pin Cotton's murder on him, but we can't we can't
Yeah.
pin
That-
anything else
something-
on him at this point.
That actually would be kind of interesting, especially because Ghostface, again, he's not a monster, he's not whatever. He tends to be whomever, and it's like, but I mean, that would make that interesting. That's true. That'd be good.
Yeah, because at that point, like, you're really pushing. Because that's what I really hate about part 4, and even without the supernatural bits. Like, I don't know if I ever said this to you, Rook, but Greg has heard me say it a few times.
Yeah.
But basically, this should have been the extent of her. Oh, I'm crackling on my mic.
You were for a bit, but I mean, we could still understand what
Yeah,
you're
you're
saying.
doing good.
Let me reset it.
It wasn't really enough to interrupt or say anything because we could still hear what you're saying.
Yeah. To me, though, my favorite part of 3 is it's probably one of my favorite confrontations. After you get all the whining out of the way of why Roman's doing this, I love the what do you call it? The way they go at each other, the confines,
The back and
fight.
forth,
Just like the fight, because you really get to the point where you think maybe he is going to kill Sydney. Maybe I mean, of course, you know she's wearing a bulletproof vest because they set it up earlier. But you get to the point where maybe this is where Sydney goes out. They go out together, which I would have been okay with.
Randy, he said that you could die too, Sydney. That's you.
Yeah, and I would have been okay if Roman and Sydney killed each other. I would have been okay.
I actually thought that's how it was going to end.
Yeah.
And then what I was going to say about Sydney, since you're still talking about her, that was my point.
Yeah, go ahead.
That's my thing with her in the 5th film. Sorry, I meant 5th film, not the 4th one, because the 4th one actually makes even more sense.
You mentioned this to me before, because like, they have the daughter of Billy like seeing his ghost and whatever, and he's like,
that was an issue, but like Sydney's part in that film should have been like, phone call happens. What's going on? Oh, there's been another murder. Do I have anything to do with it? Nope. Okay, thanks for letting me know. Hangs up the phone.
She literally
cocks her gun, puts it back in her purse, and keeps on fucking walking.
She literally drops by with Gail, like, why are we here? I don't know. Okay.
I know, and that's my point. There's no fucking reason whatsoever for her to be in that 5th film. Gail, you can understand, right?
Yeah,
she
of course.
literally wrote the book.
But
like,
still,
so
it's still lame though, because they freaking separated her and Dewey. Like
I didn't like that either.
No way in hell would Dewey ever leave Gail Weathers. They set that up in every freaking Scream movie that he would never leave her. She's left him twice. He would never leave her.
Their amount of separations strengthened why after the 3rd one they finally sealed it. That was like a really good.
They just
like
did
an
it because
good
in
love
real
arc.
life didn't they break up too or some shit like that?
Yeah, they divorced.
I think so, but still,
it's dumb. And the way they killed him, because that's the thing. Is like, okay, I can understand those two being in the 5th film, but yeah. Anyway, this is about the 3rd film.
Fuck you.
Video wise, like the movie looks the best it's ever looked. Sound wise, it's the same 5.1 digital DTS mix as far as I can tell, but it's very serviceable. It's a very good mix, very active. Especially during the 3rd act, there's a lot of great sonic stuff coming from all over the place when you got Dewey and them going, Sid, trying to get him. There's got to be another way in. Sounds like he's coming from off to the far left behind you and shit. It works really well with the spatial stuff. And then so that I can't complain about. All the extras, as far as I can tell, are carried over from the original DVD, including the Creed music video, which is actually kind of fun because they actually have Dewey in it.
I know,
stuff
it's like
they filmed for the video. Yeah,
a little mini Scream movie.
He's playing a security guard Dewey in it, but of the studio.
Scream 4, the intro. I feel like the opening of Scream 4 is probably my favorite. Not the opening. I mean,
that's
that's the other killer. That was who one of the other killer was. I'm sorry, it was the security guard, Greg.
Oh
Okay.
Sorry, go ahead, Rook. My bad.
It was rewatching Scream 4. The first 20 or 30 minutes, I think, is like really, really solid for like.
I hate the opening of Scream 4. I hate the multiple fake.
The opening thing is kind of meh.
No. You're mishearing what I'm saying. No, I'm saying like when they go back to town and when
after all that intro shit.
Characters. I don't care. I forgot about the fake killing things. I ignored that. I mean, ignoring that part. I'm saying like when we're getting our characters coming back when the series should have technically been over. Like that, I feel like that was a really good way that they're settling into what's going to happen here as she returns to town. Even the kids going like, she's the touch of death. Like, who the hell would want to get near her? But Sydney's still like, okay, whatever. Yep, I'm still going forward. Gail, she's with Dewey. Like, it was like, oh, we're seeing characters where we kind of would want them to see after it's been a while.
That's
and
why I think of
he did
Scream
well.
4 as an epilogue. I think Scream 3 is
Yeah.
the definitive ending, and I think of Scream 4 like when
Yes.
you read a book, Scream 4 is the epilogue.
Well,
to
to
where
me-
these characters are and how to finish it.
they should have found a way. Actually, I think it shouldn't have been called Scream 4. I think that's the one that should have been called Scream Again or something like that. Or even literally like Scream the Reboot. Because that's where I think that, and this is why I said with part 5, like part 4 already said everything part 5 is trying to say, only better.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because that's literally they're trying to remake and reform the franchise in that movie. Like the final bit is the best part when she shoots her fucking niece and she goes, "Never fuck with the original." You know?
Well, so not even so that is so even though the opening bit where it's like doing the fake outs, that is annoying, but I feel like it is like within Scream, it is there purposely because that is what we're thinking when we're watching this. We're at the fourth film, and this is what we're thinking as it's here. And it's like an affirmation, it's a confirmation of this is where the audience's mindset is, and we're kind of annoyed by it. That's the conversations we're going to have. And it's not like it's brilliant that they did that, but with the ending being the message takeaway, don't fuck with the original, that's what people hate. Then it's like, I feel like that makes that okay. If they didn't have that fake out intro, I feel like, that it'd still be good as it is, but I thought that was fine considering the stab film.
Yeah. No, I don't mind the intro so much because I agree with you, Rook, that it kind of is a comment on the comment of the comment, right? At that point,
which is as much as Scream can be, I think. Like that was the peak of all of the things that if you wanted to shove as many of things, that's the peak amount you can do with before we literally will watch Scream and go, fuck you, we're done. Like
my favorite part of one of the openings is go back and what of the multiple fake out endings is even in their world, Stab 5 is the worst fucking film.
Yeah, that's true.
I know, right?
True.
It was hilarious when they try to like do the logic of how one was actually a fake movie and it skipped over in number because that was that intro, that fake intro was in that movie.
Yeah.
So, like technically, Scream 5 is Scream or Stab 5 is Stab 6 or whatever they say.
Yeah,
right.
How convoluted it gets, because that's the whole point. Is I love how that movie. I didn't want to like it when I saw it, even though I knew Wes Craven directed it and everybody's back and all this business. But I was like you guys. I'm like, no, third movie had a great ending to it.
Yeah, it had a good ending.
Why would you want to mess with this again? And I even started asking myself the same thing in part 4. Is like, why is Sydney here? And then it's like, okay, so it's her niece, okay. And I should have seen it coming in a way, because like that's the whole thing. Is like they say it in the end, like they're trying to remake the original Scream, and that's kind of the whole point of the film. And that's where I said Scream 4 already did. And it's like the next generation trying to make their version, right? So Scream 2 or 4 already did what Scream 5 was trying to do and did horribly wrong.
Like on top of that, it's like they're trying to reignite it, and it's like these are people like she's related to Sydney, but she is so detached from any of the events that it's like you're a leech. You're trying to get.
Well, that was where Wes Craven is ahead of his time again, because even though it was. That kind of thing was a glimmer at that point, but look how far we've come since then.
I know that's what it is now.
People trying to be a victim, trying to use social media to get forward, being an influencer, being famous just for being famous. I think she even uses that line in the movie.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah.
Like she's like, now people are just famous for being famous.
Yeah, that was pretty much what she was saying. She's like, everybody wants a lone survivor. She only looked happy when she was when people were asking her questions and going, "Oh my gosh, you're a survivor," and all these things. She's like, "Yes, attention." I don't.
Well, that was those guys commenting.
She was fine with killing her mother, but she wanted attention.
Yeah,
like,
and the whole thing was like it was basically like them commenting on the world of the Kardashians and the Hiltons at that time is all we really had. And the Osmonds and shit, or Osborns, not Osmonds, Jesus.
Yeah,
that'd have been a different kind of show.
All right.
She was just so chill with line. Just last bit here. Yeah, I mean, so that one I feel like did a good job. That one is the definition of a cap that wasn't needed, but it still was okay.
It was satisfying.
It earned its existence, and just a few tweaks would have made it a lot better overall. Honestly,
like I said, I don't have too many problems with that one. I probably have more problems now with the third one than I do with the fourth one.
Maybe,
but
what's funny,
gets a lot of hate, but I really like the third one.
Even if the third one has a lot of problems, it's still one of those ones that I think would hold up with even the problems addressed.
It's still better than 5 and 6.
Like her, I love Sydney. Sydney's not even in most of Scream 3. She's
what?
She was filming another movie actually.
Scream 5 might have taken the crown from Halloween 5 for the worst part 5 ever. right? Like,
Really?
that's where we're at here.
Yeah, Scream 6. So hold on, Scream 6 feels like they're like, okay, you guys didn't like Scream 5, but maybe we can do things. And then it's like, nope, you can't. Stop.
I skipped through it. Well, and the problem with it was, Rook, was that it had the garbage baggage of the film that came before it, right? So you had, and I know that's
the characters that survived it. We know.
Yeah, and the only one you have left from the original cast is Courtney Cox. And
honestly,
like,
her involvement in this was retarded too. And it's just like, Sydney, she deserves a happy ending, like, to the audience.
Doesn't she croak in this one too, or does she survive?
No, they fake her death.
Yeah, that's right.
It.
Yeah,
but
I
it was
skipped
still
through
like
it pretty quickly.
And like, see, so I watched it in the theaters. That was why I watched Scream at all. Was because Scream 6 was coming out, and so I was trying to do my homework before seeing it. And I was able to see this. And again, the opening, I don't think was horrible. It actually fits what else you could maybe do for Scream. But then the whole rest of the movie is just awful.
I think we've dedicated way too much time to Scream.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm done.
Okay. Well,
no, I'm done with Scream.
Yeah,
we're
done.
This is the final conversation until Scream 4.
No, the amount of time you talk about Scream is kind of like the amount of time you say
4K and come back again.
Then we're done.
The amount of time
we're done.
Talk
then
about how much you're done with Scream is just like Scream. There's going to be another one.
We're done.
Give it time.
Done. But as for your questions, Brian Barth, yes, Drew Barrymore was kind of still a big star, and it was a big deal when they killed her off in the beginning.
It was the psycho thing.
Like,
the
psycho effect.
Which is it my turn next? Because actually, that would segue perfectly.
Right, but we do have a $5 super chat from Bronson Wright Wolf. Thank you so very much, Bronson. He says, "Which one of Wes Craven's other movies do you guys think should have had a sequel?"
Deadly Friend. No, I don't know.
Actually, I wouldn't mind have seen a Deadly Friend.
I don't know if there could be a sequel. Well, could there?
Yeah.
Maybe?
Well, the way it ends, I mean,
I suppose it has that stupid Wes Craven ending they forced him to put on it.
I mean, it wouldn't have been Chrissy Swanson, but it'd been like a killer robot.
Yeah, I don't know. Honestly, I think most of the ones that should have or could have had sequels did already. So
maybe People Under Stairs too, but then again, it ends the way it ends. You can't really see what.
Like,
exactly.
yeah, I think it's as good as a one and done. Same thing with Serpent in the Rainbow. Same thing with, I mean, somebody already sequelized, Swamp Thing. He did his own sequel to Hills Have Eyes. I mean, really, most of his movies either got sequels or really didn't need them.
Yeah.
So
that it helps you out a little bit, but most of his movies, they got sequels, or the ones that didn't really need them. So, all right. Okay. I hope you guys we're done with the Scream. We're done with the Scream.
Yeah.
Done. Sorry, guys.
But it's the whole Drew Barrymore like Psycho thing. If I'm next, I can segue perfectly after that.
Perfectly.
Because after watching Psycho last week, I had to watch Hitchcock. Who has seen this?
I haven't. I'm going to ask you, is it a good movie?
Okay, we have Anthony Hopkins. We have Midnight's Edge's own Dame Helen Mirren in it. Scarlett Johansson, Toni Collette, Danny Houston, Jessica Biel. I mean, the cast is amazing.
Oh, shit.
It is a movie about the making of Psycho. And yes, of the two movies that I know of about Alfred Hitchcock, it is the better of the two.
Is it?
Yes.
I've never seen it. I wanted to, but I've heard mixed things about it.
The other one is called The Girl.
Mm-hmm.
And that one is kind of salacious. Now, the only reason that one can remotely be considered fact at all is because Tippi Hedren has made those claims in her book about Hitchcock, although they play it up quite a bit in that movie. But what it refers to is Hitchcock has a little bit of an obsession with his leading ladies. But what I think happened was, and that's what I think this movie is beautifully countering that 2012 HBO film with, is it's actually kind of explaining why Hitchcock did what he does. Because he had like Grace Kelly, and then she got married to the Prince Monaco and left her.
Mm-hmm.
He had oh God, what the hell's her name? The sister in Psycho.
Was it Janet?
Vera Miles, wasn't it?
Vera Miles, yes. Miles.
Vera Miles was his next one that he was trying to make into a star.
She actually does the commercial for Psycho, the shower commercial.
Yep, and then she went and got pregnant on him. Because that's the thing, is like he would tell them, look, I'm going to make you a star, but you have to do everything I fucking tell you to do. Right?
I was just saying, look, I made you pregnant.
No, well, she didn't make him pregnant. She did that on purpose to get out of his contract, is what it was.
Okay.
Yeah.
But then you had, of course, oh, now her name just escaped me in this one. The one from Psycho. Jesus. Janet Leigh, who actually understood, who stood by what she said, and that was, you tell me what to do, and I'll be putty in your hands, Mr. Hitchcock. And he made her a fucking star, right? And he never did anything. She said he was completely professional with her, maintained that throughout her entire career thus far. So I don't really believe Tippi Hedren's complete stories on him, because she makes him sound like a complete stalking, like he supposedly threw himself upon her one time and also propositioned her another. I don't believe it, because at the end of the day, I don't know if Hitchcock had ever had sex with anybody but his wife in his entire life.
Yeah.
He didn't even get married till later in life, and he even said he was a virgin up to that point.
I always felt like he was like, his love was movies, and like he wanted these women, like, you know, like you were just saying, control them and put them in the movies the way he wants to put them. I don't think it was a sexual love type thing or forcing it on. I felt like he was just trying to create.
Well, it was more so, I'll make you a star, but you can't fight me, right? You can't give me a bunch of horse shit.
He's got to be the boss.
And Vera did, and that's where some people say that he, you know, stuck her in shit roles for the next few years because of that, which makes sense. Maybe that's true, maybe it's not. If not, I would argue not so. He gave her the starring fucking role in Psycho.
Right.
Even aside from that shit. If you think about it, Tippi, on the other hand, like, one of the things that doesn't add up is they claim that because she rebuffed his advances, he tried to hurt her during the phone booth scene in The Birds, and this is depicted in that other movie. And it makes no fucking sense. First of all, why the fuck would he hurt his leading lady? Then his movie gets shut down.
Right.
Like, that would make no fucking sense whatsoever. And secondly, the special effects guy took complete blame for it, because it was supposed to be candied glass and he didn't change it out.
Mm-hmm.
He even claimed that. So I don't buy that bit at all. The only thing that I do agree that was bullshit, but this could be chalked up to the assistant director getting it wrong, because she claims that she was told she was only supposed to shoot one day in the closed room upstairs with fake birds. And she ended up having to shoot for 4 days with real birds. And at the end of that, she had like a minor nervous breakdown.
Yeah.
And that, like I said, could be chalked up to, because they even show it in that movie. The assistant director's like, I told her it was going to be 1 day with regular birds. And then Hitchcock's, well, why would you tell her such a silly thing?
Yeah.
You know, like, so again, I was Hitchcock probably a jerk sometimes? I'm sure he was, absolutely, positively, but I don't believe that version of him. I think this version that Anthony Hopkins portrays is probably more realistic. I agree with you, Greg. I think he's the kind of guy, he's like a little kid when it came to his movies.
Mm-hmm.
And this is the thing, is he never won an Oscar.
Right.
But he got a Lifetime Achievement Award and a couple other awards near the end of his life. And during one of his speeches, he goes, I want to thank the 4 most important people in my career. That would be my writer, my editor, my assistant, and my wife. They're all here, or the mother of my daughter, and they're all here. My wife, Alma. She was all those things to him, right? So that was him basically saying, I owe my entire career to her, which is kind of what the point of this movie is, because the movie is about, okay, so Hitchcock just got off of some of his biggest career hits and misses. And he had another movie he had to do yet for Universal, and he'd been working on the Alfred Hitchcock Presents over at Paramount for television. And so Universal was kind of getting pissy about that. So what he did is he got the idea to do Psycho after reading the book. And the thing was, he's like, I can make this in black and white and shoot it with my TV crew for nothing. And Paramount didn't really want it. So he's like, well, fine, then I retain the rights to it, whatever. So that's why it's a Universal picture now, because he retained, or no, the deal was with Paramount. I'm sorry. Deal was with Paramount. He was making Alfred Hitchcock Presents for Universal. My bad.
Yeah.
So that's why it eventually became a Universal picture, because he owned the rights to it outright. But anyway, so they kind of miffed at the deal, didn't really like it. So he went and paid for it himself, put his house up and all that kind of shit, which didn't really make Elma all that happy. And at the same time, she was off working with Danny Houston's character on this play or screenplay for another movie. I can't remember which. And I can't even remember his character's name. But like, so Alfred is getting kind of upset because he thinks she's off having an affair with Danny Houston, and it's really affecting his work. And the movies not coming together the way it should. And it really boils down to like he needs Alma, right? And that's kind of the big part of it. Otherwise, the best parts of it are just seeing how, you know, everything kind of came together and how they made the movie, and you know, just it's a fun, decent biopic. I'm sure some of it's fluff and made up, but for the most part, it's fairly accurate. It's a great cast in it, you know. They get little things right about Alfred that I know that I've seen about what people talk about him, like you know, he was always kind of, this is another reason why I'm not so sure he was so into his women sexually, is like you said, because I almost wonder if Alfred was like closet gay.
You know, maybe that, or
because
that is just maybe a little off, like autistic sort of, maybe.
I don't know. Here's the reason why I say this, because he was always titillated by things that especially had to do with homosexuality. Like it was said that
psychos.
The reason he hired Raymond Burr and the reason he hired what's his face, Anthony Perkins, supposedly is because they were closet gay too. So it makes you wonder, because he always got titillated by psychosexuality, and that was one of the things they said that he got really fucking into with the whole Ed Gein thing.
Yeah.
So it's not just men, but it's kind of like just the whole kind of kinkiness of it. Like, and at that time, you got to remember, especially when he was raised, and if you start to learn more about his background and how his mother was, you see, oh my God, it's like there's a lot of shit in Psycho that makes a lot of sense.
Like, I could buy that.
Like his mom was like I guess a terror to deal with. Like when she would punish him, she would make him stand at the end of her bed while she slept and shit all night long and stuff if he was being punished.
Yeah.
And one time his dad he's supposedly really scared shitless of cops growing up, because his dad, one time he got caught either stealing or something like that. And his dad had called the cops to have him come get picked up and arrested and taken down and put in a jail cell for like 5 minutes. But at the time, Alfred being like, you know, 5, 6, 7 years old, whatever it was, he said it felt like an eternity, of course. And from that moment on, he was just deathly afraid of cops. You know?
Yeah. I mean, when you have parents like that, sort of traumatize you.
Yeah, his parents really fucked with him pretty bad.
Well, hey, we get creative geniuses that way.
But otherwise, he was always kind of referred to as a proper English gentleman. So that's why I have a hard time believing a lot of Tippi Hedren stories.
I don't.
The thing was with her, she was a model. She wasn't an actress to begin with. She really sucked at acting in a lot of ways. She didn't really end up with a huge career afterwards, so you can't blame it on him. Yeah, and that's the thing. He was not that powerful as some people like to pretend he was.
Yeah, I mean, if he was that powerful, he would have gotten an Oscar.
People forget that he didn't. Yeah, he did not start getting recognition until like Truffaut did his famous interview with him in the 70s. And until near his death is when he finally started getting the recognition he never got before. When Spielberg, Scorsese, De Palma especially were saying, oh yeah, Alfred Hitchcock is the greatest director of all time. If you ask people in the 1960s if Alfred Hitchcock was the greatest director, they'd fucking laugh at you.
Right. Especially when he was making Psycho. Like, oh, you're making a horror
Exactly.
picture?
He's a TV director now, is the way they were looking at him.
Yeah. And black and white too. Is like, yeah, it was, and it turned out to be his most successful film, but that is what it is. Yes, Hitchcock would definitely be canceled today for calling actors.
He actually was asked about that by Truffaut, believe it or not.
Yeah.
And he goes, I was probably being a little funny at the time I said that, but he goes, it still rings true. He goes, of course, they have to be, you know, emotional children or they wouldn't be able to do their job.
Yeah.
He goes,
I love Hitchcock.
But like cattle, they need to be guided and molded and whatnot and told what to do.
So yeah, you're trying. I mean, I assume when you're trying to manage the whole set, I mean, yeah, the actors, you want them to go here, do this, and do the thing. Like, do what you do.
Yeah,
like, you gotta herd them to
Well,
where they need to
he
be.
just said what makes them great actors is what makes them the worst things to deal with in the world. And that is that they're
I think that's a good
emotional,
that's a compliment, if
egotistical,
anything.
fucking
narcissistic.
like you said,
So good at
emotional,
your job,
egotistical
you're
children,
difficult to be
basically.
with.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I have a question. So you guys are like huge Psycho fans, and I've only seen the one Psycho movie. I don't know how much, but I had no idea there's so much Psycho content at all. I had no idea, like franchise and stuff. But what do you? And I didn't know about the Hitchcock one, but this sounds like something I want to watch. But what do you recommend in terms of watching? Like maybe before watching this one, because it seems like one to watch after.
Just the movie,
watching
just the
some of this
Psycho
stuff.
works mostly.
Yeah.
Like I said, if you want to go check out The Girl, that's up to you. That's actually showing on Max right now. It's an HBO movie, so it'll probably always be
The
on
Girl,
Max.
is that another Hitchcock one, or
It's about Hitchcock. It has the guy who played Zoloff or whatever his name was in the Captain America movies, the little German dude.
Yeah, I just call him,
He plays Hitchcock in it, and then trying to remember who plays the main who plays Tippy in it. I'm trying to remember.
I'd rather see Anthony Hopkins, to be honest. So.
Yeah, the Anthony Hopkins version is much better. He really gets into it. I think it's a more accurate portrayal of Hitchcock and what happened behind the scenes. Which is kind of weird though, because you could kind of watch them back to back, because the end of the movie, not to spoil it too much, but there is a little tease to The Birds, because that was the movie he made after this.
Mm-hmm.
But at the end of the day, this was his biggest movie of all time, and it is his signature film. And this movie about him, I think, is so far the best one they've had. Now, I'd love to see a movie just about his life altogether, but
yeah, that'd be.
I mean, if you're going to do one where you concentrate on just one movie, this is probably the one to do, I guess.
I'm going to check that one out now, because I've always been hesitant of that one.
I was gonna say real quick. I mean, it's I'm glad that Psycho, regardless of how I feel about it, yes, no, my bad take last week about it, but I'm glad that it inspired a lot of films to. Would you guys say that there's more good films that came after it and with inspiration from Psycho compared to nowadays? I mean, compared to nowadays, where like when people try to copy formulas, like the Avengers and stuff, like there's better things that have come out because of the influence of Psycho.
It's like we said, Psycho helped birth the slasher genre. Without it, you wouldn't have Scream, Rookie. Like we just talked about, you wouldn't have.
Actually, I just had this conversation in a DM group the other day, because somebody was complaining about Psycho. They're like, "Why is it everybody keeps saying Psycho was the first slasher film when it was actually Peeping Tom, or I can't remember the name of the other one?" I'm like, well, it's kind of like how Michael Jackson didn't invent the moonwalk, but people think he did, or they associate it with him.
Yeah, it was like
he's the one who did it and made it most famous. Psycho is just the one time where Hitchcock took all these things, kind of like Tarantino does, that maybe these other guys did before him, and did it better, and everybody remembers it because it was the better version, and it got more, more mass appeal, or whatever you want to call it, than Black Christmas was the other one he brought up. And I said, because of that, and he goes, and the same thing with Halloween. And I said, well, it's the same kind of thing with Halloween, right? I mean, you had Texas Chainsaw, you had Black Christmas and stuff before that, sure, but Halloween was just the most successful of all of those, and it put John Carpenter on the map.
Yeah.
So and also Jamie Lee Curtis. So for those three reasons alone, much like Psycho, it may not have been the first, but it was the one that did it the best at that time.
And plus, with Halloween, Jamie Lee Curtis is Janet Leigh's daughter, and Dr. Samuel Loomis is the same name as Sam Loomis, Janet Leigh's boyfriend in Psycho. So it's got all those connections.
Oh yeah, there's a clear line through Psycho to Halloween to Scream, for instance.
That's kind of
three
cool.
generations right there, basically.
Seems like a subtle, cool thing to have.
It's like each one of those, like Tom was just, each one of those may have not have started that, but they helped birth what you have, because they became the most successful version of putting the pieces together that other movies have laid out, and they just put them together in one package, and that was so
and you had Alfred Hitchcock doing it, right? Like
exactly. He took
the best of the best, especially when it comes to horror. I mean, and that's kind of what he says in this movie. She goes, because she hands her the book, and she's like, "It's like trash." He's like, "I know, but what if someone like me made one of these movies?"
Right.
And then she kind of cocks her eyebrow a little bit.
It's all we want, honestly.
You know, like that's what I'm saying. It'd be like, you know, a superhero movie. What the fuck? And it'd be like Christopher Nolan goes, well, what if somebody like me made one of these movies?
Yes.
Yeah.
You know?
Exactly. No, so
and that's kind of what it was. And I know you don't like it as much but you respect it for what it is. And that's kind of what I'm saying.
Especially the more you guys talk about it. I mean, that intrigues me more about it, even if I didn't enjoy it as much.
Yeah.
I appreciate that a lot came from it. And it makes me wonder if nowadays, if there could be, even in the horror genre, like, is there an equivalent that you think would set precedent for
funny
things
enough,
going forward, or is that hard to do?
I don't know if this will set a precedent to the movies I'm bringing on tonight, but I think there's something new and fresh in the horror world that is starting to take off a little bit. But I think I
might know what you're talking about. So we'll leave that one alone.
Yeah, we'll
for
get
now.
to that.
We'll circle back around to that, I think.
Which actually kind of goes with a super chat I just got, but we'll get back to that.
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, what was your first part of your question again, though?
Yeah, go ahead, Rook.
I forgot what the first part was.
Oh, I forgot. I was saying if there was any films around today. I forget what
yeah. That was your only question. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I will come back around to that. Maybe. To a point. Yeah.
Yeah, I think because I was referencing how like other films would try to copy the Avengers and like, oh, we gotta have franchise and we have no idea and throw it together, and like whenever like the Matrix might be another good example of somewhat modern. I mean, 20 years ago, but of one that did it spawn any good movies that were influenced by it? You're just making me think about that now to like maybe look into that.
And well, what's funny is there was kind of a dearth for a while because the Psycho ripoffs didn't really come along for a while that worked, like the Texas Chainsaw Massacre and whatnot like that. Like we had a whole nother era of horror that came in before the slasher era. That was the next generation that was kind of a one-off too. That's the other thing that happened. And you got to remember at that time, and I mean, I know you've heard this kind of thing before, but he was really, he had to use a lot of, how do you put it? A lot of innuendo.
Right.
Because, like, for instance, in the book Psycho, he doesn't just kill her in the shower. He chops her fucking head off.
Yeah.
Right. There was no way they would let him get away with that back then.
Yeah, and some of the stuff he did to his mom's corpse as well. So.
Yeah, there was no that was the whole thing. And that's what's great about this movie is there's this whole like beat in the story where it's him up against the MPA. And just what he managed to get in the movie, like the toilet, because that's another thing that most people don't realize. That's the first time they ever had a toilet in a movie before and flushed a toilet in a movie before. And I think he kind of used, and I think he kind of used that to distract a little bit. Because the shower scene, I cannot still to this day believe he got away with that.
I know, and we get the extra minute of the shower scene added back in with the new cut, which was cut out after it was.
It's not quite a minute; it's just like a few extra shots. The bigger shots, the more of the R-rated or the unrated version is actually when the killing of the cop, because it's only one stab in the theatrical cut, but in the unrated version, I think it's like 3.
Yeah,
and then he falls. But anyhow, I mean, you got to remember what he had to do just to get away with that. And that's great because they have that little bit here in the movie, but in real life, what happened was they sent the movie into the censors. They're like, he said half of them said they saw nudity in that scene. The other half said they didn't see nudity. It was fine.
Right.
So they asked him to cut out the nudity. So he sent back the same exact thing, didn't touch a fucking frame of it.
Right. I remember this.
So this is why I don't think there's anything really added, but maybe 1 or 2 shots, like maybe one or literal shots, I think, in the shower scene. Because I think he did catch one. Because there is a bit here where she goes, almost looking at the film, he goes, "My word, Alfred, you got her breast in this shot." He goes, well, they're quite big. It's kind of hard to miss them.
Yeah.
I love that type of response.
Yeah.
Even though she was technically, that was the other thing, is that's kind of bullshit because she was technically never naked on set. She always had moleskin on.
Yeah.
The only person who was actually technically naked was they had a stand-in for the higher up shots, and those they did catch some nudity in, but like he made sure that they cut at every frame where just before you'd see a nipple, and then so like he was saying, it's more suggestive than anything. He goes, you think you're seeing a lot of things.
Yeah.
Because the other thing he does in that scene is one thing that most people don't ever give him credit for is he changes POVs in that scene like 50 times. You go from Norman's POV, her POV, Norman's POV, her POV, back, forth, with each cut. Then finally, like it literally goes from your her POV in the shower, his POV outside walking up, her POV seeing him get larger in the shadow, his POV outside opening up the curtain, stab his POV, stab her POV, stab his POV, like through that whole fucking thing. And all you're seeing is the knife come down and just literally parts of her belly and her hands coming up into frame, her hands coming up over her face. You're never seeing anything more than you realize. You think you're seeing so much more. So then the story goes, so he sent it back. And then now he goes, it flopped. He's like, all the people that didn't think they saw nudity in the first time are sure they saw nudity this time. And the other side, oh no, it's good. It's good to go. So he's like, fuck it. They said, let's slide. So what he said, he proposed these other cuts, and he proposed to cut, I think, 2 shots out of it or whatever. And he got what he wanted. And so he's implying in that those things that got cut out of the movie, he intended to get cut out anyway.
Yeah.
So I don't know if they really should have been added back into I don't really care at the end of it. They don't really change the movie. So, I mean, it is what it is. So, but I think as the story goes, he had always intended, because what he did then is he went back with a deal. And he's like, okay, so if I cut this, and this, will you leave everything else alone? And they're like, yeah. So that was it. That's how he got out of it.
Yeah.
And they kind of depict something similar to that in this movie, basically.
Yeah, I got to see it now because I want to watch it because I trust your judgment.
See, I'm not sure because the way they depict it in the movie it's kind of funny. I don't know if this happened in real life. This is one of the things I'm not sure, because in the movie, because I think in real life happened was what I just said.
Yeah.
But in the movie, the way they depict it, he asks if everybody can leave the room so he can talk to the head of the MPA, who is actually played by Kurtwood Smith, which is hilarious. And he's like, I'll tell you what, I will bring all my actors back in and we will reshoot the scene to your specification, but I want you on the set. And he's like, you want me to supervise? He's like, yeah. And he didn't show up. That was the joke. Like, he obviously was, embarrassed by it. And so it just went through as it is. So, but they played that up. I don't think that happened in real life.
Yeah.
I think it just, what I said happened was he made the deal. He cut the extra knife bits with the cop, and he cut like a few frames out of the shower scene and done.
Yeah. I love that. I'm gonna have to check out that movie now for real. And Brian Barth, were you not here last week? Me and Tom did the whole box set for like.
I was about to say in the last 50 minutes. In the last 50 minutes,
maybe he left before we got to it.
They talk about Psycho movies.
He might have left before we got to it because Bryant leaves early sometimes.
But yes, we like 2, 3, and 4. We do. I think 2 and 4 are the best of the sequels, but I don't mind 3 either.
Yeah, I agree with Greg. I might like 3 a little bit more than him, but otherwise I think they're all pretty solid.
I was always kind of a little weirded out by 3, but it doesn't mean that I hate it. I actually like the movie. But yeah, and then which I'll talk here in a little bit, Doug. Thank you once again for the $4.99 super chat. I'll talk about it here in a little bit because Rookie's next.
Yeah, go ahead, Rookie. I'm done.
Yeah, Doug for $4.99 says, glad you like Terrifier movies. Saw Part 2 twice in the theaters. That is awesome. So I'll talk a little more about them later. But thank you for the $4.99 super chat, Doug. Rookie, what do you got for us? What's your first pick?
All right. Well, I know that you've brought up at least one of these before, but Scream. I love Scream, but Tremors has been one of my loves since I was a kid, pretty much big time. We got the Tremors Attack Pack. It's got all 4 of the original ones in here, and even though I love it, it's also one of those ones that I'm definitely willing to criticize some aspects. And this isn't even a film criticism thing, but on the cover it shows one of the tongues of the graboids with teeth, and I assume that they're really trying to emulate Jaws or something. They like want to emulate, it's from underground. I think I've heard some of the directors talk about it before, where they wanted to make something similar to Jaws.
I believe that the original title was called Land Sharks.
Yeah, exactly. Like they wanted to, I forget what they were doing. They're like, I'm just sitting on a rock and going, what if something was under here? It's like how they sort of came up with the idea, and then kind of like Jaws and sharks and whatever. So I assume the teeth on the graboid are supposed to be like that, because the graboids that they show with the tongues, I think they do have teeth, but they're more like straight teeth, not these like jagged, vicious.
Yeah, and that Attack Pack is weird because they're missing part of the poster there too.
Yeah, I agree. I thought so. And I don't know if this is the best version. I swear, I thought there was a
Because to make it look
sequel
like
on here
Jaws,
too
you've
or
got
something.
you're supposed to have Kevin Bacon and his girlfriend.
Yeah,
behind
Yeah,
yeah,
they're right
they were
there,
on the
they're
cover
not
at
on
one
there.
point on one of the covers. Exactly. Yeah, that's something was missing on there. And just going along with that, I do have the Tremors series set.
I
which
actually don't have that.
It's one I do recommend you watch it, as silly as it is. And
I've
FanZcene
seen
knows.
a couple episodes on Sci-Fi when it was actually on.
Yeah,
It's not
they aired it on TV for a while too. That's where I saw it initially as well. But funny thing, like I actually really hate the cover on this one more though. I don't know what the fuck that is. What is that? That's nothing that's in the show.
Nothing that's in the show.
That has eyeballs, that has teeth, that has a tongue. It's implied based on the things on the bottom there to be like the graboid tongue grabber, but it's clearly not that at all.
There's where you got a carbon copy of a copy of a copy trying
What
to.
the fuck is that? That's not in the show
Yeah,
at all.
that's weird.
And Tremors the series has a lot of different monsters in it. It's basically a monster of the week kind of film. Or
You
like
know my
series.
favorite part of the series.
What was that?
You know my favorite part of the series.
I actually forget your favorite part in that one.
Where the chick runs in, she jumps in the barrel wearing a white shirt, and she gets out.
Oh, Rosalita,
and
right?
She's got no bra on, and they're sitting there.
Yeah.
You watch
She's Miguel's niece, I think.
You can see her tits, her nipples,
she's
everything.
trying to get away from an ass blaster, and she has to hide her body heat, so she goes into the nice cold water.
And you can tell the actors, like the
stay
three
safe
old
there.
dudes in the thing, are just they're not supposed to, but you can see all three of them are just staring at her chest.
What-
And
yeah,
you can tell they're
the-
not supposed to be doing
It's
that.
funny because they have Burt Gummer's survival school going on at the same time, and so she runs in all wet t-shirt and everything, screaming. She's Spanish and talking, screaming in Spanish and whatever. The guys are just like, yeah, and they look like nerds trying to like learn about survival. So that's kind of they have a lot of fun elements.
Supposed to be staring like the way they were staring, though, because you could really tell.
Exactly, but
good night, Psycho Night. Your daddy, he's got to get up at 4 a.m. So have a good night, man.
Oh, sure. Have a good night, dude. Appreciate you coming by. But no, Tremors is one of those films that one of these days for YouTube, I'm definitely going to do a bunch of breakdown stuff on Tremors, especially because, like many franchises we all know and love, they tend to love to destroy the shit out of them. The Tremors 5, 6, and 7 are like Jake Skywalker on steroids with how they ruin our boy. And Tremors 5, they go to Africa. It's supposed to be bigger stuff there. Oh boy. They make graboids look like dog shit. They make the ass blasters look like dog shit. They have the tongues detached from the graboids and can walk around, and it's so stupid. And then they get Gummer locked into a lion cage, the one you'd catch a animal with or something. A lion pisses on him. He drinks his own piss. He's stranded, naked, sweating, and being crazy.
I'm trying to remember if I even seen this one.
And then in the 6th one, they're in like Antarctica or something. They try to
That
have
one I know I
Val's,
haven't seen, but I
they
have.
try to have Val's daughter in it. They have horrible comedy with it. They're like, oh, the only thing that we found was half a testicle. How do you have half a testicle or something? It's like just some awful comedy. Bert suddenly cares a lot about sports as well. There's literally a guy that comes to perfection called on his license plate says tax man. Are you retarded? They can't afford any other people to be in the thing. So he's like manning Chang's store he's the only one in the town. They try to have his son be in here, which they try to say the Reba offspring essentially is what's coming in. He's like, I'm trying to be friends with you, Dad. It's like, oh, so stupid. And then they literally try to copy elements. They try to copy elements from the regular Tremors, where Rhonda has to get the water, get the waterfall, water tank, water balloon. What the fuck is it? The water tower. Get the water tower to distract them, so the graboids come over there. So this dude has been drinking Mountain Dew all day or something, and so he's got to piss off the side of the roof to distract the graboid. And some girl with the sniper is like, he's got a nice thing, huh? Just awful fucking things. And the 7th one with shriekers, they're like mutated sound wavy things, and like it's so fucking stupid. I hate the Tremor sequels. I love the original ones. You guys, I haven't done dedicated videos to these, honestly, but I should, because I am for some reason really passionate about Tremors, and I
love the passion. I love Tremors 1. I love Tremors 2, which we're getting Tremors 2 on 4K. Yes. We're getting that. Tremors 3 was Tremors 4 was all right. After that, I've never watched them.
Tremors 3 is more silly. It's a step down from what the other ones are, but it's still one of those ones that's way the fuck better than the last 3 that they've made. Tremors the series again is really silly. They only made 13 episodes for season 1, and for season 2 they were going to have Val and Earl try to return, Kevin Bacon and Fred Ward return, and they were going to have them do more Monster of the Week stuff that was going to be more silly. They're going to have like Sasquatch stuff. I'm not even kidding. They're going to go with like Sasquatch UFO type things in the future, which would have been silly, but I would have been game for it to see what the hell they do. They introduced like Mixmaster in the Tremors, the series, which have a different like type of creatures that they have to come up with and deal with. So they make for interesting situations rather than just the same ones. And they repurpose shriekers in ways I think is pretty interesting. So Tremors, if you guys, that is above Scream for my favoritism for like a franchise. This is one of my babies. Like, I don't know where I'd put it on a ranking, but if I'm thinking about it, it is really top, is really high for me because it is, I can talk about it no matter what, whenever. I could just not watch them for 10 years and I could talk about it like I watched it yesterday. Yeah.
That's when you know they're good movies. I love like I said, I love the first 4. The third one being an exception. I never really cared that much for 3. I've never watched any after that. I know some people like Brian Bartlett said that he heard the Jamie Kennedy ones were fun, but from what I've heard, they're not very good after 4. So
no, they are really like if you think that like Luke Skywalker gets shat on, Burt Gummer gets that times like 10.
That's Burt Gummer's his Luke Skywalker's guy. So if he's saying it, then I believe him.
they have him get like infected from getting eaten in Tremors 3, and he's like spazzing out every now and then. He gets stripped naked many times, and just an old man humiliated. They treat him like he's this badass hero, which he never should have been like the main character anyway. Honestly, he should have been a really good like one of the main cast, but not the lead. Because Burt is not that type of character. He's the doomsday prepper guy. You know, he should not have been the main lead anyway, to be honest. But I forget, Tom, I know that you liked Tremors. I don't remember your history of Tremors or if you had much to say on it with that.
Huge fan of the first film. Second film is pretty good. I don't really remember the third film. Is that the one where you find out he has a kid or some shit? Or is that the fourth one? No, the fourth one's the prequel, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Where they were Rejection Valley instead of Perfection at the time.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember. The third one, I don't think I remember liking too much. Fourth one was a step back up. Fifth one, I just looked. It's opened, so maybe I watched it.
You never watched it. You would have remembered him getting pissed on. You would have remembered the shitty.
I remember not liking it too much because I remember Jamie Kennedy being in it.
Yeah,
but I never opened the last 2, the Frozen one or the Shrieker Island one.
Yeah, both of those 2 were the last ones. Those 3 are so awful. Like there's such an obvious downgrade in quality, passion, care. Michael Gross, I feel so bad for him. I don't know if he knows. What's
the third one, I guess I remember liking okay because if that's the third one where they start to fly the ass blasters.
Yeah, with the ass blasters. Yeah, I think the third one is funny, but it is a step down in quality overall compared to the first 2 and the tone that they set. But it's still I still say it's okay.
All right.
The designs were pretty good too for it, and it's not like a huge stretch from what it was before.
That's what I was like. I remembered the first 4 were pretty decent, kept in tone.
Yeah.
I mean, you kept losing people from the previous movies, but then once it got to Burt, it was all right. It was fine. And then I never watched.
What was charming about the fourth one, or which one is Return to Perfection?
That's third one.
Okay,
the fourth one is like the prequel, yeah. Okay,
because the third one then has a bunch of people from the first movie brought back, and I kind of like that aspect of that one too. So I think if I remember right, I did like the first 3, and then the fourth one's pretty decent as far as it being a prequel. But other than that, it's kind of meh.
Yeah, fourth one is meh, but it is kind of fun. They show graboids when they're like.
They have like the one guy who played Wong in there is like an ancestor of his or something like that. And some other
it's the family that's there. Yeah, and they just have like it's a fun movie. They show like baby graboids essentially. They like clothesline this one dude. They show them grow, and they're like, oh crap, how do we deal with this thing? And Bert's ancestor gets like this huge cannon gun thing, and he shoots it, and he misses. He's like, you missed with a cannon, like.
Yeah, because Burt
great lines.
His ancestor was not a guns guy. He was very proper,
very prim and proper,
against it and stuff. So that was funny.
That was funny, and I think Tremors 3 has a lot of funny lines too. Jodie the whole time she's messing with Jack, and she's like, "You." At one point, he was like, "Is all this noise going to draw the graboid here?" She's like, "The explosion was so loud it would have driven them far away." She grabs him by the chest. "You really should read the comics." Like, just I'm surprised somebody's taking that out for a clip, because it's just like, you really should read the fucking comics. You learned something here, boy. And I don't know, the Tremors is so fun, and that's why I hate the freaking last ones they've made. The last ones, I feel like they stole the rights from whomever, from Universal or something, and just like, we're gonna make some retarded movies here.
Well, Sci-Fi actually owns Universal and Sci-Fi or whatever, which is kind of funny. But what's even more hilarious, do you realize that there isn't a pilot episode featuring Kevin Bacon? We've never seen.
Yeah, there was a trailer. The trailer looked awful to me. The
it.
trailer looked awful to me, by the way. The way, especially the graboid designs, looked like shit.
Yeah,
but they're trying to do like one of those reboots that ignored the rest of the movies that have come out, the sequels. They're like, it's right after the first one, and we're gonna follow Kevin Bacon, and that's gonna be awesome. I'm glad that one failed, but I would have liked to see it just to know, well, is there redeeming qualities, or is it going to be one of those shit ones that we usually get these days? But I don't know if it would have been any better or worse than the current sequels we got from it from 5, 6, and 7. But yeah,
Probably
that one
better. But then again, they never put it in production, so we don't really know if it was going to be any good or not.
It would have at least had Kevin Bacon, so it has at least one redeeming quality. You know, that's my guess with that.
Nice.
Yeah, trying to catch up with the chat here.
Yeah, this is
got him. Yeah, he said.
I can't play the music.
Yes.
I can't play the music.
Yeah,
you're good. Yeah, Kevin Bacon. Never to be seen. They're like saying the sequels. Screw those. Okay, screw the sequels.
Now leaving perfection. We'll miss you.
So what happened to that hot guy who killed all the graboids?
I heard something.
I thought you killed all the graboids.
So did I. So did the world. But maybe we were wrong.
You're trying to live in a memory that doesn't exist anymore because everything else has changed.
Oh my God.
Be the hero again.
Okay, fine. You all bury your heads in the sand, which, if I'm right, is a really stupid place to put your heads.
He's not even playing like the same character. It's weird.
Yeah, it didn't sound the same at all.
No, they're just doing the classic things we always see.
Yeah, we've had false alarms before.
You okay? Are you all right?
Not a sound.
Can still hear your footsteps. Throw your keys and run, or whatever. Throw keys you don't need that isn't your car keys. Based on the film.
She's getting closer. You want them back, just like the good old days, right?
Oh my God.
I got him.
She was supposed to be his daughter.
These look just as lame as the sequel ones of this, honestly, just with Kevin Bacon in it.
Before. They don't plan, they don't strategize, they just kill.
No, they do strategize. That was the fucking point.
Yeah.
They get smarter.
Yeah.
They buried you guys. They're
No, I bet you that's
out.
supposed to be his kid there.
I hate that design. Oh my God. Yeah, it's all pointy and ugh. Coming soon. Good one. April Fools, right? Yeah. Oh, that design is
They look more like the sandworms and Doom.
Oh,
Yeah, they do.
yeah. Well, but those at least, I don't know, like gigantic planet thing. Oh, look at that poop.
And the CGI, I'm not a fan of either.
Yeah, it doesn't even look like the original Tremor graboid.
God, what are they thinking? And oh, you just want to relive the past. Tremors 2 did a great type of like continuation of it, and Tremors 3, Bert and them, like everybody takes what they learned from the other films and tries to build a better understanding about the creatures and how to deal with them next time. Where by the time you get to the show, they could live with one of them around all the time. With there's still some casualties. Sure, there's tourist attraction essentially, but like for the most part, yeah, okay, we got our beepers, we got our size things, we got our areas to go that we need to. Like they had a pretty good thing worked out. Everybody that comes to perfection knows about graboids, otherwise they're retarded. Like, they did good with what they had for the material.
Insane. Well, it's probably best to leave the Tremors franchise at the originals, and
They can stop.
not
They can
move
stop.
forward.
There's no need to do them
They're not
anymore. I mean,
make more,
Tremors
no.
the series had the best concept with Mixmaster as far as continue. I mean, in terms of
They can
continuing.
stop. They can
thing.
stop.
Yes,
It's
it can
okay to
stop.
let things in, people. It's okay to let things in.
Yeah, this is one of the main points I've always said. Like, can
I love-
franchises end? Yes.
I love
Stop.
Rookie. He's sitting here like, you can live without that fucking Tremors money, Universal. Just let it go. God,
Quit making them.
stop fucking with my childhood.
It's not, dude, when I saw Tremors 5, I was seriously like, did like some indie makers like steal the actors or something and make the
Probably
movie?
because
And
they did really
release it?
well, like the straight to DVD Tremors did really well, so they just kept
Tremors
churning
2
them out.
especially, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that was good. Tremors
I
2
know.
was good,
Yeah,
like,
but they once they start making that money, they don't really oversee them. They're just like, yeah, just put out
Well,
another Tremors.
And you got to understand, Rook, like when the movie came out, it flopped. Like,
yeah, I've heard
completely
that they
flopped.
gained a cult following after.
And yeah, it was one of the earliest. One of the few times I remember a movie being on television so early that was in theaters. Because my cousins are like, "Oh, we're gonna watch Tremors tonight." I'm like, "What the hell is that?" And like the movie had come out in 1990, and I think it was already on TV by like the next summer, or something like that, or at least the summer after. I think it had to be. Because I was at my grandma's at the time. We were all hanging out there, and we didn't stay there for that many more years because we became teenagers after that. So like I'm sitting here going, it had to be that soon. And that was the first time I saw it was on TV. And then, eventually just kept seeing it over and over and over again on TV and renting the video whenever, and shit, and showing my friends who never heard of it. And it just became, like a cult classic catches on. So yeah, it took a couple years for it to catch on. And then the sequel came straight to video, which was kind of like came out of nowhere. And then, yeah, just kept making more and more of them. So yeah, that's kind of why I think they tried the straight to video thing.
I think so. I mean, I'm fine if things are straight to video. I guess that's not the problem for me, but because sometimes they can be good. But it's just these attempts just feel like they weren't people that really know how to make movies. They were just people that liked Tremors before and took aspects of it that they thought were cool and made them way worse.
Which is weird because I think the original writers are part of the franchise, either still or were up through most of the.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah, they were for a while.
What
I mean,
the
I don't know about.
fuck?
I want to say for up through at least most of them.
Oh my god, the
I could be
tragedy!
wrong.
The tragedy!
Yeah, they still were through part 4. Let me look.
Oh my gosh!
I think. Yep. Mm.
It's crazy because yeah, I've heard the ones after 4 aren't really good. I know some people like the ones with Jimmy Kennedy because I heard that, but I've heard most of them they're not very good at all.
I'd
So I
really
never
love to
bothered with
hear
them.
what they like about them specifically. That'd be excellent to hear. What the hell is redeemable about the 5th?
Okay,
6th,
it looks from
and
like
7th?
5 on. No, I think they didn't write it.
Thank you.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Good.
Okay.
Because
Yeah.
it feels like they're people they're like, I like Tremors. I don't know. Do you know how to make a movie? No. Let's make a movie. Like
Yeah,
that's what
'cause
that felt like.
Up through 4, they got characters and story,
Yes.
and they even wrote on the series.
You could tell because I haven't watched the whole series, but I watched like the first 3 or 4
And then
episodes.
you get to part 5, and it's based on characters created by, based on characters created by, based on characters created by for the last 3.
Oh
You could tell then somebody else got a hold of him.
Yeah, Michael Gross, the old guy. I just like I don't know what happened. Like he must. I guess he doesn't do anything else these days. He needs money. Like I don't know what else he does.
You know what's really funny about that is, he was the dad on Family Ties, and he actually ended up hating the show so much by the end because he was afraid he was going to be typecast as that type of dad character.
Oh,
And then he's played Burt
Irony.
Gummer and became typecast as Burt Gummer for all these years.
They
which
don't
is
know what
kinda
else to do with
funny.
them. They make him literally stranded on an island, like with his own little made up hut, like fishing and like I'm so deleted from everybody. Every single film in the sequel ones, he reconnects with his son and then like dissipates again. And then in the 6th one, in the 7th one, they couldn't get Jamie Kennedy back, so they're like, yeah, he's in jail for like selling drugs or something in Mexico. And then there's another character that is like literally taking on that same role. Who's that guy? It's like Deadpool, the like he's kind of like a hippie. I forget.
Oh yeah,
what his name is. You guys know what I'm talking about. He's a Cloverfield guy, and Deadpool 3 is like one of the friends. I think it's him that's in it. I think it's him. It might be somebody else, but somebody like him. He's in it, and he's just like, wow, I'm the guy that has stupid things to say, huh?
Yeah.
Jesus. It's just so chat. I hope that you guys like my rant here with that.
They did. They loved a lot of them. Loved your passion on Tremors.
I may not have seen everything, but for some of the things I've seen, I can rip them in.
Yeah, they love your passion. Oh no, it's the Napoleon Dynamite actor. Duck Nation says.
That's who it was, right? Sorry, I don't know why I thought in my head their faces looked similar, but now he's right. Yeah, that's good correction. Thank you. Okay. Yeah, they have the Napoleon Dynamite guy, and he just says stupid things in the film because that's what Jamie Kennedy would have done. So
yeah,
that's just what that is.
But I loved your passion for Tremors too. I love the Tremors movies. You know that, and chat loved you, so I'm happy about that. Yeah, I love it. Love it. You should definitely upgrade the first two when you get a chance to, Rookie. The DVD's
I think
fine,
I want to. I didn't know that they.
Fine, but the 4K looks beautiful on Tremors. The first one.
To be honest, I didn't know that if they were making any new releases of the DVDs of these because I kind of wanted new cases anyway. Because the one that I have is the one with the stupid flap straps on the thing on the ends, and I broke those off because it's pissing me off.
Yeah, I hate those.
Now the case is weak to hold up. So I kind of wanted new ones. And I think they're the double-sided ones where it's 1 and 2 on each side. I don't really like the flip ones. I'd rather them be their own individual cases.
I think they released a DVD set or a Blu-ray. They might have released a Blu-ray set of them, possibly. I'm not sure.
I'm thinking this is one I bought at Walmart or something. It was just like, look, I like that. Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, but I love it. I love it, Rookie. I love it. But if you got anything else to say, let me know. If not, we'll move on to me.
Nope, we are good to continue. Let's go.
All right. Okay. Speaking of some more horror, and you were talking about earlier, is there something that will in the horror genre that could possibly come along like Psycho, Halloween, Scream, and all that? Well, I recently. Oh, hold on. I gotta show this. Tom's got these. Yeah, there you go.
Nice.
I could have sworn they released that on a Blu-ray set.
I like your Attack Pack logo on there. Is a lot better than mine. Yeah, that's a lot better than mine. It stands out more. Yep. There we go. Yeah, the people are on them. Yeah. That makes more sense to me.
4K. Yeah.
Yeah, I like that.
Nice.
Yep.
Okay, so I recently, so many people have been telling me, hey, you're a horror fan. You've got to watch these movies. And I've always been hesitant because from what I've heard, they're very, very gory. And I don't like gore for gore's sake. I don't mind gore in a movie and everything. But I finally broke down. I bought them. And I got to say, that would be Terrifier and Terrifier 2. This part 1. Here's part 2 on 4K. Part 1's on Blu-ray. I gotta say, I really, really dug them, and I know Tom, you haven't seen them, so I'm gonna do my best not to.
I have them, but I haven't seen them yet. Yeah,
you have. I'm gonna not spoil them, but since there's a part 2, Art will come into part 2. What? That's spoiler alert.
Now, have you seen All Hallows Eve or whatever it is? The original.
I have not seen All Hallows Eve, but from what I understand, because I looked it up. All Hallows Eve was designed to just introduce art, the story, and because it's an anthology horror movie. It has nothing to do with the Terrifier movies whatsoever. Matter of fact, it's a different actor playing Art because the actor retired after the second All Hallows Eve, which I don't think he's even in. So it's a different actor. All Hallows Eve was just designed to introduce the character of Art, let people get familiar with the character, and then the Terrifier movies are their own separate stories away from that. That's what I understand from that. But that's where he comes from. It's because the director Damien Leone, he's had this character in his mind, and he's wanted to do a movie about Terrifier. He made a short film Terrifier years ago, and nobody would make it, so he did this anthology and introduced Art the Clown that way. And it became sort of a hit, so he used that as a launching pad to actually make the Terrifier movies, if that makes sense. But I really, really dug these movies. They do get very, very bloody and gore, but it's not just gore and blood and violence for the sake of gore and blood and violence. It's a purpose. You know how we talk about this, because this is something I loved. You know how we talk about, like, when they say Jason, he was like the shark from Jaws. Speaking of Jaws, like, in the how we started to root for these villains to kill people because they're no longer becoming the shark from Jaws. Well, Art the Clown is the fucking shark from Jaws tenfold. Once he starts, he doesn't stop. He is relentless, and he goes all the way. And he is scared. Like the first one is legit. It gets scary. It gets creepy for a slasher film. I was surprised. It's got legitimately unnerving, scary things, and Art is sort of like this mime clown. Like, so he makes these faces and stuff, and then like he can get real sinister, and then he can get real funny. So, it's just insane. And he the big set piece, which I'm sure you've heard about, Tom. You've heard about the big set piece in the first one, right? Speaking of which,
vaguely.
Do you know what it's about? The big set piece. It's sort of, if I can show you that. See that? There you go. The big set piece is he basically cuts a woman in half from her vagina all the way down to her head.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, that's the big set piece in the first movie. And the woman that did it said she's actually very, very proud that she did that scene. It did something so shocking that you've never seen in a horror movie like that before. So, it's pretty fucking disgusting, and honestly, it's not the most disgusting part of the movie, as far as I'm concerned. But it does get very scary, creepy, and unnerving. The first movie is, and the first movie is 84 minutes long, so it's nice and tight slasher film. It does pull off a little. Speaking of Hitchcock, it does do a little Hitchcock in it, and I don't want to say what I mean by that, but I'm sure once you see it, you'll understand what I mean. It does pull off a little bit of Hitchcock in it, and so we move on to the second movie, which is a 4K. The 4K looks pretty good. So I understand they're releasing a new 4K with all the set here in the US too, like the one that was sent to you, I think maybe, Tom, where they'll have All Hallows Eve. Terrifier.
Actually, I don't have that. Somebody just sent me the Blu-ray of Terrifier and the collector's edition Blu-ray of Part 2.
Well, I just saw they're releasing as like a steelbook with.
I saw that, but I'm not so sure. I think that the first film is still just a Blu-ray.
Yeah, the first film's still a Blu-ray, but it will come with that, All Hallows Eve, and
that part. Yeah. This says right on the thing, because at first I was thinking, oh, is this a 4K edition of the first film? And that's why I didn't put it on the 4K for you thing today, is because it's just a re-release.
Right? Yeah, it's just a re-release. Yeah,
that's what I found out. Otherwise, it would have went on there had it been a brand new version of Part 1. But I noticed it said 4K Blu-ray, and then if you look closer, it says and 3 Blu-rays.
Yeah, because it comes with All Hallows Eve 1 and 2, and then
Blu-ray times 3.
Yeah.
So it might. Yeah, I don't know if it has a Blu-ray of a Terrifier 2 though. So I think it's just the 3 that you said, and then Terrifier 2 is just a 4K. So actually, you lose one, but you gain the other. So yeah.
Yeah. And these are 80s throwback horror flicks. If you're a fan of 80s horror and slasher movies, these are for you. Because it's all practical effects, no CGI. And I love the fact that, yes, Art is this very intimidating, scary character, and you love seeing him on screen. He played brilliantly by David Howard Thornton, but you also want to see him you want to see the motherfucker die. By the end of each movie, you're like, just somebody kill Art. Please kill, for the love of God, kill Art. I don't care how cool he is. So he's legitimately that villain. You're not rooting for Art to win like you would Freddy or Jason or Michael, because that's what we've become now. Like we're like, don't kill Freddy, don't kill Jason. We love them guys, because because the people have become fodder, and you like the villain. So like, because Art starts killing people that you really like. So I like that. And the second movie, the biggest complaint I would have about it is it's 2 hours and 18 minutes long. No slasher movie should be that long.
Why?
Yeah, it should not.
That's
be
like
that
2
long.
movies in one. You could have cut that into 2 movies.
From what I understand is he got some crap from the first movie for being light on story. So
Mhm.
he's a special
Which I can
effects guy.
get, but yeah,
Yeah.
I'll say with horror so far, I've
Yeah,
rather preferred them being a
I
solid
like it.
hour and a half. Because
Exactly.
any
And
longer, I mean, even if they're good, even if I like them, that it's solid at an hour and a half usually.
So, like,
if it ends to drag, then
yeah. But the second one doesn't really drag. There is a half hour probably could have been cut out of it. But the thing is, like, he wanted, because he's a special effects guy, because he does, not only does he direct these movies, he does all the practical effects. He makes the blood, the prosthetics, all that. So that's where he came from. So he wanted to up his story game, which he does tell a really good epic story in this. And yes, the $1.99 super chat from Doug here got Nightmare on Elm Street vibes. It has big Nightmare on Elm Street 3 Dream Warriors vibes. Literally, the movie starts with the girl of this movie. It's in her bedroom to like almost like an 80s rock song, making her Halloween costume. It's almost the exact same scene from Dream Warriors when she's making the Freddy house. It would, when Arquette's making that. It reminds you of it. And there is like a dream sequence and stuff. It is a bit overly long, but it's so much more epic in scope. You can tell you got more money for this one. These were both independently financed, independent films. So, yeah. So like the second one, it tells a much more epic story. It's a little more Nightmare on Elm Street esque than like the first one. I would say is a little more like Halloween meets like just like 70s 80s grindhouse movie. The second one is a little more 80s grindhouse meets Nightmare on Elm Street meets Halloween circa 4 and 5. Well, not 5 because 5, but more like Halloween 4. And he amps up the grossness. I can understand why they were trying to pass off the thing of people saying they were throwing up and passing out, leaving the theaters. What he does to one of the girls in the second movie is, I think, so much more disgusting than cutting a woman in half from her vagina all the way down. He does something pretty nasty with it. I mean, he gets fucking nasty, but it's not like, you know what I mean? I don't want to spoil the movie because Tom, I think you would actually like.
I might actually get to it this Halloween. We'll see.
Yeah, I think you might actually like the first one. You probably will have some problems with the second one because of how long it is.
Mm-hmm.
But if you like the Nightmare on Elm Street, it plays very well into that Part 3 Dream Warriors. It gets a little supernatural in the second movie. But like I don't want to spoil anything, but he basically tears a woman apart with he's just like, it's disgusting what he does to her, and then it's just picture salt and bleach too. So I enjoyed it, and the main final girl, I didn't know how I was going to feel about her when it first started, but then like when it gets into, you really get to like her and her brother, and even their mom, because her mom is such a like a mom character. You really like, this is like a mom, you know what I mean? And so like it really plays well. I try not to say too much about it because I know you guys haven't seen it and I don't want to spoil it. But to go watch my video, for anybody who has not watched it, I did a video on these where I talked about movies because I had never seen them before. And thank you to everybody that recommended them to me. And I'm sorry it took me this long. And I do think these could be the next step in horror. I'm pretty sure this is why we have Saw X coming out now. I'm pretty sure, because like Saw was all but dead, especially after the Chris Rock Spiral failure.
Chris Rock was in Saw.
He did a movie called Spiral from the Book of Saw, so it was like a Saw movie. And I think maybe we got Saw X returning with the original characters because of these. Because of
Saw X, like extreme. We get.
I don't know. It just came out. I haven't watched it.
Go into the shark tanks, and it's Saw X.
I don't know. I haven't watched it. It just came out in theaters. But I'm really excited for Terrifier 3. They're re-releasing Terrifier 2 in theaters this November 1st. Why November 1st? I don't know. You would think Halloween, since both these movies take place on Halloween
you're ready
night.
For the family, you know.
They take place on Halloween night, both movies. But they're releasing Terrifier 2 in theaters November 1st. And they're going to exclusively show the trailer for Terrifier 3 at the end of the movie. From what I hear, it's going to be shorter, so we don't have to worry about it being a 2-hour, 18-minute. For the Part 3 will be shorter. I mean, so he's going back to scaling it back, and it's going to continue where this movie leaves off. So I'm excited. I enjoyed it because I have not felt something this good and fresh. This is really truly a breath of fresh air for horror movies because it's done in a way where it's done a throwback to 80s, 70s, 80s grindhouse movies, but it's very original. It does subversion right. It pays homage to the masters. Like I said, you'll see the Hitchcock, what I'm talking about, Hitchcock in the first movie. And if you're a gore fan and practical effect fan, it works. It works on every level. So definitely give them a watch. Give them a watch. Definitely worth watching. But yeah, Tom, I definitely think you'll like the first one. I do think you'll probably have second, because the second one is a little bloated. It is a little long in the tooth, but the story keeps your interest. But check it out. Rookie, I'd say check it out too if you can handle it.
I feel like it's one of those ones that I'll probably watch after I actually watch like Halloween and stuff. Like after I watch more of the original slasher ones that I haven't seen yet. Like I should probably watch them first, like in general, because I need to get to them anyway. And then Terrifier like sometime after that, I think.
Yeah. But yeah, it's definitely, you can tell it's definitely things. And I will, Doug, to be honest with you, I will probably try and rewatch Terrifier and Terrifier 2 by around Halloween. I really did. I liked them that much. I will probably try to rewatch them by Halloween if I can fit them in. Because I got other stuff I need to watch too.
Yeah.
But yeah, check them out. Thank you to everybody in the chat and everybody that recommended them to me. So many people from the horror, like, Greg, you got to see these. You got to see these. So I was like, fine. Because I was always hesitant because I heard about the first movie where he cuts the woman in half. I'm like, I don't really want to see that. I mean, because I've heard it looks legit real. But you could tell it's not. So
yeah, I got you. Yeah, it's one of those things for me where like I like that sounds creepy to watch, and I mean I don't know if that's what I specifically want to see with horror films. Like, you know, The Thing was grotesque, but it wasn't gory, if that makes sense. Like,
yeah.
But I really enjoyed that type of thing, and the other one. And I'm still figuring out, I guess, what I like with slasher stuff. But I wouldn't. Yeah, like this is why I want to see other ones first before I see Terrifier, because this is a newer, a fresher one in that type of thing after all these other ones have been done, and then I can sort of compare what I think afterward after I get some more under my belt of the original slashers. 6. Now I've seen Halloween, but I saw it with a bunch of friends and we were all talking over it, so I don't think I really experienced Halloween very well. So I need to like actually watch it and like pay attention to what's going on. I don't even remember if I had the sound on, if I was reading captions, you know, like that kind of thing. So this 2024, I'm going to really try to watch Halloween and all this other stuff. But Terrifier 2 sounds creepy. I heard about the saw in half scene. I think I saw a clip of that. Yeah, I think there's even like another chick watching it. Like, oh crap, this dude might do that to me. Like what? Yeah. Like, that's think about being her watching that happen. Like, oh God, I need to get the hell out of here or I'm screwed.
Yeah.
Like, you know.
Well, he's got her tied to a chair. So
that's what I'm saying. She's got to try to get out, or that could be her because he just
this
chick. What's stopping him from doing that or something worse to her?
The first Terrifier is like why I say it's a breath of fresh air, because a lot of people don't actually think slasher movies are horror movies. They think they're their own genre,
like a different genre. I could kind of understand.
Which I get it because a lot of times slasher movies aren't necessarily horror driven.
It seems like a subgenre of horror. It seems like
it's a subgenre of horror. Where the first Terrifier is legitimately, art is scary. There are legitimately scary, creepy scenes where you're like, you can't watch this alone in the dark by yourself. Certain parts, and other parts, it's like, okay, it's cool. It's a slasher movie. So I think it's very well paced, very well done. I don't care what people said to Damien. I would love to talk to Damien Leone. I know I tried to friend request him and stuff. So if he ever accepts, I would love to talk to him. I don't think the story was that light in the first movie. I liked the fast pace of the 84-minute story. I love that. And I get that he wanted to show off his talent and he had the story he wanted to tell for the second movie and wanted to show that he's not just practical effects guy, but he can be a director, a writer, and a practical effects guy all at once, making an epic movie. I commend him for that. But I do hope he keeps it short, sweet for the third movie. So yeah,
that'd be good.
Yeah, Art is a truly terrifying villain who I really enjoyed, but I also really want to see him be killed.
Yeah, the saw in half scene. The reason why I think that stands out as being creepy. I don't know if people get it. It's like she's alive during a lot.
Oh
of
yeah,
it.
she's alive the whole.
So the person getting sawed in half from the vagina down, like she's not dead yet. Takes a bit before it kills her, right? Like that's the creepier part for it for me. That's like, oh man, you can't even like end your suffering. You're literally just, ugh.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
Are lasting probably so long for that person.
And
like,
honestly,
oh my God.
I don't think that's even the most gruesome scene in the first movie.
Possibly, yeah. That's the only one that I've seen.
I mean, that's the biggest scene. That's the biggest, most practical effects heavy scene. That's gruesome. But there's another scene that happens later on in the movie that I think is much more disturbing and just creepy and gross.
Yeah, I'll bet.
And it's not even really bloody. It's not even like gore centric or whatever. It's just really disgusting and gross and really creepy and kind of scary. So yeah. So it works. And I tried to skirt around a lot of that because I don't want to spoil it for a lot of people who've never seen it. But anybody check out my video I did of it. If you haven't watched it yet, for the spoilers. But Tom, to you, if you're ready for is it your third pick? Is it your final pick, right? You got to unmute.
Sorry, it looks like Jason fell down back there. You can't even see him now.
He's coming.
My stupid thing keeps sinking. Like I have crappy tape that's not holding it up there. So I haven't started in my deep dive into horror yet, at least at this point, because some of these were end of September reviews. Like this one specifically was because September 30th is, of course, the anniversary of the death of James Dean. So I thought it'd be time I crack open the 4K version of Rebel Without a Cause, the movie he's probably most well known for. And it's a decent release. It comes with the Blu-ray, which has all the special features on it, basically. But I guess what it is it looks okay, but I guess it's from a really old scan. It's from the same scan they used for this old Blu-ray, but they recolor timed it, so they fixed some issues there was before. It doesn't look horrid, but it doesn't look amazing. There's a new Dolby Atmos mix on it. Now, this was a film that I guess was actually mixed in stereo back in the day. And it does have, well, actually 4-track surround sound. And it has a 2.0 matrix, I believe, of that 4-track surround sound mix on here as well. But the Dolby Atmos mix is not too bad. Now, there's not a ton of shit going on. I don't know if you guys have either seen this before or not, but
I've seen it years and years ago.
Okay.
But it's been a long time, and I was wondering how it looked on the 4K because I was wanting to.
Pretty good. I mean, I guess with the fact that they fixed a lot of the color grading issues and such, it helps. Mm-hmm. But I wouldn't say it does not. I mean, it still retains kind of the. I think it was shot in Technicolor, if not one of those processes. So it kind of retains that look anyway. But there's some spots where I just feel like it should be a lot grainier than it is, and I know I noticed some edge enhancement here and there, and some other issues after they clearly did some noise reduction. But it's not horrible. But if they're working from an older scan, I could see where they probably had a few issues they wouldn't have had if it was a newer scan. Right. So I don't know the age of the exact scan, but I just remember from doing a little research that they didn't actually do a new physical scan of the film. So, but no, overall, it's the film itself is kind of quaint by today's standards, because it's a film that has been ripped off endlessly.
Not really a rebel anymore by today's standards.
No, well, I just got back. What film is this?
Rebel Without a Cause.
Oh, okay.
You never seen it, or have you?
I have not.
Okay. Yeah, because I mean, the whole point of the movie is he's trying to not be a bad kid. Mm-hmm. But I mean, and just the way the movie's set up compared to shit that we've gotten over the next 30 plus years that was inspired by it, it's very, very quaint. Yeah. But clearly you can see the through line to things up through, everything from Saturday Night Fever to 1984 to you name it, with anything with a greaser in it, basically.
Grease.
Grease to a point, yeah.
Yeah, with the car and everything.
The character in American Graffiti that drives
Oh
the
yeah,
truck
yeah.
that
Paul
Lamont
Lamont.
plays. He's clearly George Lucas wishing he was James Dean.
Pretty much.
No, I mean, as far as an actor goes, I mean, I could see why James Dean and Marlon Brando got a lot of comparisons, but I would still say Brando is probably the better actor of the two. I think James Dean is okay, but I don't think he's as great of an actor as everybody kind of makes him out to be, just simply because he made 3 popular films and then died. You know what I mean? Like,
you don't really know the extent of what he could have, you know, what he was.
Yeah, and then to Brian's question here, I don't know. I mean, would he have won that Oscar had he not died? Probably not.
Probably not.
It was a post death Oscar, and those usually are kind of like,
he died.
I'm just gonna give him it because, because is that performance anything amazing at that time? No, in fact, it's like fucking after school level shit now, right? After school special type shit, and it's even quaint by some of those standards, which is funny because you're gonna see this is kind of gonna tie into my next pick in a weird way. Let's say. But no, overall the film is not horrible. It drags a little bit in some spots by today's standards. I have not seen it in years. I think the last time I seen it was probably a broadcast on like Turner Classic. I never even had the Blu-ray or DVD.
Yeah.
It was because it's not one of my favorites. I like it. But I mean, I'll be 100% honest with you. The only reason I got it is because it was a 4K release and the steelbook is not too shabby looking. I thought it looked all right. Nice image on the front there, and
it looks all right.
And then, of course, you got what's her face on the back. You know what's funny is how the 3 main stars of this movie all met a very tragic ending.
Well, it's supposed to be cursed, ain't it?
I don't. Has anybody really talked about that ever?
I thought there was something with the car in the movie.
Well, you have
like cursed.
Well, you have him dying in the car accident. That's Natalie Wood.
Yeah. We know what happened to her. Was it Christopher Walken or was it her husband?
I think it was Wagner or whatever.
Wagner.
I don't think Christopher Walken could hurt a fly.
No, I don't. I think he was just like really confused of why he was.
And then you've
there.
got Salminio, of course, too, who also died tragically. But yeah, I mean, and for those who don't know, he got stabbed in his car being robbed. Yeah, it's just weird to think of that, considering. And then how this just the kind of just this idea of this movie, even things that like a lot of Stephen King clearly liked this movie a lot.
Oh yeah,
because there's a lot like Stand By Me. Sometimes they come back. Clearly has some little homages.
Yeah.
To him.
Oh yeah, I forgot about Sometimes They Come Back.
Oh yeah, clearly big homage to him.
Yeah, with it. Yeah. I could see that definitely with the greaser guys and all that.
Christine.
Yeah, Christine. I mean, shoot, he turns into a greaser by the end of that movie.
I mean, that's almost like if James Dean come back from the dead, like he was buried in Pet Cemetery, man, with his car.
Yeah. Halloween Ends, with Corey.
little bit there, yeah.
Sadly, because he's copying.
I can see that now that you say that. Yeah.
But no, seriously, I have heard that film was cursed. I heard the car, something to do with the car. Didn't all 3 of them touch the car, have something to do with the car in the movie?
Maybe. The only thing with the car I know was he was supposed to be doing he was supposed to be running it in a race, and he had just got it. It was a Spider, I think. Trying to remember, was it Corvette or was it a Corvette Spider? I think it was.
Something like that.
Anyway, his engine guy who was supposed to be doing the race with him said, run it up and down the coast or whatever to get it kind of worked in. So he was out speeding around in it is what he was doing. But of course he's just a young bucket still. He wasn't that old. So it's just being stupid and probably drinking a few too many or something, or just got going too fast and didn't quite know the car well enough yet, more or less. But yeah, the other two are a bit more tragic deaths in a sense of like, yeah, they weren't.
But
of
I
their
thought
own
it was
accord.
like, what was it that I was reading or saw? There's like the car. Maybe it's not the movie. Maybe it's the car was cursed, but everybody that touched the car, has had something bad.
There may have been other
like,
deaths attached to it that I don't know about, but
yeah, like
I
I mean,
haven't
they didn't
deep
necessarily
dived
die in a
into it.
car wreck. It just
But I could
like,
see this movie winding up on one of those cursed movie episodes pretty
yeah,
soon.
exactly.
And it's a weird one for Shudder or whatever, but hey, I mean,
Yeah, it would work.
almost as many deaths as fucking Poltergeist, right?
I know,
mean,
man. It's
or
insane.
more, really.
But yeah, I've been wanting to pick that up because I haven't seen it in a long time, and I was curious about the 4K, and so it sucks that it's not a new scan, but at least they fix color timing issues and stuff.
Yeah, I can recommend it in that respect, and I'm pretty sure that this is a brand new Dolby Atmos mix. I highly doubt that was ever on it before.
Yeah.
It's pretty front centric as far as the mix goes. I mean, I kind of bounced a couple times between the two. Oh, it was a Porsche. Thank you, Brandon Brad.
Yeah.
I knew it was. I couldn't remember what it was. Thank you. I'm not a car guy, if you couldn't tell.
Yeah. You don't want to read this one, apparently. He's talking about season 3.
I know my buddy was watching it, and he's not too happy about it.
Oh boy. But that's good to know. I definitely won't be able to get the Steelbook because it's all gone, but I'll probably pick up that normal 4K soon. So
that or hold off. Maybe they'll do a set with that giant and the other one.
Oh yeah.
So I got all 3 of them already, but
that's cool.
I don't remember what the other one was.
As long as they bring down the prices, man, that's what's pissed me off about Warner Brothers. I'm loving that they're putting out these movies on 4K, but they're just giving us the 4K, no special features, no Blu-ray, and they're charging
at least
like
this
$30.
is one where they gave us the Blu-ray with it.
Yeah, at least they did on that. So, like, if you're going to give us just a 4K, bring down the price from $30. Come on.
Well, this was a little bit older release. I've had this for a little bit.
That was one of the first ones they started releasing.
See, because I remember somebody, because I got Giant as well, and I haven't watched it yet. East of Eden, that was the other one I was trying to think.
East of Eden.
I haven't watched it yet, but somebody was saying there were some issues with Giant as well. So I don't know. But East of Eden, I have no idea. And I think those 2 were released first, and then this was the last one, if I'm not mistaken. No, I could be wrong. Could have been vice versa. Trying to remember now. Anyway, no, I can recommend it for the most part. So.
All right,
check it out.
Cool. I will. I
Books,
definitely will.
check them out.
I definitely will. Rook, are you ready for your next pick?
Indeed.
What do you got for us?
All right. So I'm not saying that I really like this one. I haven't seen it in years. But I will rewatch it this year. I was checking out any horror ones they have.
What the fuck is that?
Blood Rain. From what I remember loving it when I was younger, but I don't remember anything about it other than the hot chick from Terminator 3 is in it, and I think Michelle Rodriguez is in it. Ben Kingsley, and
I still can't believe Ben Kingsley did that movie.
I don't know why either. I remember it looking very low budget. It looked. I don't know, but the DVD here, it's director's unrated cut. It came with a video game in it as well. Which
I believe it was based on a video game.
It was.
I never had that before. When I bought a DVD and it came with a disc for a video game, that's the first time this happened for me. I guess it says DVD ROM.
There was a few of those back in the day. Some of them were Xbox games, but yeah.
Yeah, and so I never played the game either. I never had interest. I was like, it's whatever. I don't even know if I've watched it since I bought it on DVD. There's still dust on the case because I haven't actually touched it until now.
U-Bowl film,
to be honest.
Director.
How do you pronounce
U-Bowl? U-Bowl, I believe it. He's a director that makes the worst movies.
Yeah,
he's known for making really bad movies.
From what I remember, I just remember that she was hot. Like that's the only thing I remember about it.
Watch that for her. That
I was trying to read the back to see if it gives a description on the movie, but it's like Blood Rain delivers nonstop action and incredible special effects. I don't know about that. Christiana Loken from Terminator 3 stars as a sexy killing machine determined to use her supernatural fighting skills to combat her father and his menacing vampire army. And it features a huge cast. Okay, now I sort of remember. She fights like a troll thing or something in a dungeon, I think. I don't have much to say about it. I just grabbed the disc because it was a horror film, and I'm just like, I have a horror film I had from a long time ago, and the seeing the video game on the cover seemed kind of funky. Does anybody in the chat like this movie or remember what it's about?
It looks
any
like
good? Because I don't
Lead
know.
Scenes liked it. He owns it.
You're fired. We're gonna need another rookie
again. Yep.
Scott Hughes says it's a horrible hot movie with a hot girl. Game was awesome.
That's what sold me on it.
We're gonna need another runner.
We're gonna need another runner. I think you see boobs in it. Doug
Yeah,
sense.
I think so. I remember that. Yeah. That's why I got it pretty much from what I remember.
Raider Brad said I watched this not long ago. I was like, what the fuck?
I think it was one of those movies where it was on. It was before Netflix though, but I remember it resurfaced on Netflix. And I was like, "Oh yeah, that movie! I'm gonna go buy the movie." And then I bought it, and then I never watched it again since I bought it. Like it was just been sitting there.
That doesn't surprise me, Brian Bart, that Michael Madsen was drunk for most of the film. That doesn't surprise me.
I'm planning to rewatch it because it just sounds silly, and just based on what everybody's saying, it's probably a really silly movie. But
I've never seen it, but I've heard it's one of the worst movies that U-Bowl ever made, and he actually made a sequel to it. So
he made 3. There's 3.
There's 3 of them.
I've seen the second one.
I didn't know there was the third movie. I knew there was a second one, and I knew that
from what I remember, the second one is. I think I remember watching that one too. That one was like Old West. So the first one's like medieval. The first one's like medieval times. Second one's like it's like Old West. I think we're supposed to assume it's the same character because her name is Rain, but she's played by a different actress entirely. There's no reference to anything that happened before, and then something happens in that one. There's kids in trouble. I don't know. And then in the third one, it's like World War II, and played by a different actress again. And I had no recollection to anything in the other films. There's just 3 Blood Rain movies that are all different and no connection from what I remember.
Didn't even know there was 3. I knew there was 2, but I didn't even know there
well,
was
and like
3.
they said, it's a video game too, I guess. And I don't know what happens in the video games exactly. Or if anybody likes the video games,
I've never played a video game.
They're any good. Brandon Brad said he watched it not long ago and was like, "What the fuck?"
Yeah.
Yeah.
U-Bowl versus Zack Snyder.
Uwe would kick his ass.
Yeah, Uwe. Is that how you say his name? Uwe. I always call him
Uwe. Yeah, I don't know. Uwe.
Wait, so what other films has he made? Just to refresh my memory. I know I've probably seen some
weird dumb shit.
Bunch of bad movies.
There was like a couple of movies he made in Hollywood, but then he went back to wherever he was from. And
was there any bad ones that people liked?
He made In the Name of the King. I forgot about that.
Wait, was that the one with not Jason Statham?
Yes, that's the one with Jason Statham.
That's Jason Statham
and Burt Reynolds, and he made 2 sequels to him too, which I didn't know that.
Oh no, yeah, I remember the first one. That one was funny. They played that on FX. That one was funny as shit. It was so dumb.
In the
but
Dark.
Yeah, Alone in the Dark.
Rampage.
No, it had Scooby Doo. It had Stu in it too. I think Stu was in
Cry.
The Name of the King. He's in The Name of the King.
Speed.
Speed. That's like okay.
No, not Speed. Seed.
Oh, Seed. I never heard that one. No idea.
Probably nothing else you've heard of. It's all real garbage.
Okay, that's one of the I've probably heard.
He made House of the Dead.
Probably heard of Uwe Boll. Probably heard of him often, but I it's funny. I never put a director to any movie that he's made. I've heard the name a lot and just never attached him to a movie. Really.
I'll be honest. The only reason I watched House of the Dead is because the woman that plays Lois Lane in Smallville shows her boobs in that movie. And that's the only reason I watched House of the Dead, because I always thought she was smoking hot on Smallville. And then when I found that out, I was like, I'm watching that movie.
It sounds like he makes movies where women get naked, and that's why people watch it. Because they're not naked in other material. It's like,
all right. He makes bad movies, man. But at least
all I remember otherwise is he got into these boxing matches with critics and he kicked the shit out of.
Everybody's saying Rampage was. Everybody's saying Rampage was good. Was that like the one with the Rock or different?
No, it's a different kind of Rampage.
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't see the new one either to do that. Yeah, Rampage. I don't know. What year was the old Rampage?
I don't know. I don't want to look it up again.
I figure somebody in the chat will tell me that one.
I think we've talked enough about Blood Rain.
Yeah, no, you guys have given me. I have barely anything to say about it. You guys have given me more than I had. So that was a horror movie sort of that I had. Does it count as horror? Really? I mean, it says Blood Rain. It's Blood Rain.
And you don't have to do horror movies yet. I started my I started my
like only one of mine has only been so far technically. Well, two.
No, I agree, but I'm
one and a half, I guess.
I was just thinking about it. I'm like, do I have any actual horror films like that? Shit.
Typically, Tom usually brings in his horror movies near the week of Halloween, and I'm typically the guy that's watching them from the start to the end.
Right.
So,
Halloween started on October 1st for you.
Usually, my viewing is dictated by what's coming out and stuff like that. But then, or what comes out, I should say. But then, around Halloween and Christmas is when I pull out.
After he get a career,
that's what she said. I pull out. I pull out around Christmas time.
Don't need no Christmas bibbies.
I really don't know how he managed to have a career with Breitbart. He's just lucky, I guess. Yeah. Same 6. I watch them year round too, but I tend to watch a lot in October.
So do I. But again, it just with my lifestyle now, just I'm lucky if I get time to watch many movies. So now I'm dictated by a lot of that. But no, I mean, there's things that like even now, like I may seem light now unless I re-bring on some of the films that I've already talked about.
Yeah, sometimes that happens. I mean, we kind of
on Halloween season. I generally watch some of the same movies. I try to throw in something different every once in a while, but
that's why I was glad to watch Terrifier because I started my spooky season off with movies I've never seen instead of repeating a lot of which I will repeat this year. So, but yeah.
Speaking of, what do you got next for us?
Okay, this I guess is my final pick, and not to bring it back around. Well, it sort of brings it back around, but I watched Happy Death Day. Just the first one. I didn't watch the second one. I don't have the 4K because I'm pretty sure
either you or Runner brought that on before.
I don't remember ever bringing it on.
So it must have been Runner.
I know some people don't like this movie. I actually like this movie.
I still haven't seen it.
Yeah, it's basically Scream meets Groundhog's Day. That's the premise of the movie.
That's all I remember is it's like Groundhog Day or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's surprising the director Christopher Landon is directing Scream 7.
Not to be confused with Michael Landon.
He's Michael Landon's son.
Is it really?
Yes, it's legitimately.
I was making a fucking joke.
I know. He is Michael Landon's son.
Wow, that was weird.
He's his
that didn't work out.
Son, by the way.
Wow. That's weird.
Yeah, I know. Let's just make a joke.
What's his name again?
Christopher Landon. He is Michael Landon's son. He's his actually gay son, but that's besides the point. I dig this movie. I think the first one is good. I like the second one too, but the second one becomes more sci-fi. This first one is basically Scream meets Groundhog's Day. This girl who's actually a horrible person gets repeatedly killed day in, day out by this masked person, and she's got to figure it out. And as it goes along, the repeat day after day and everything, you get to learn about this girl and how she changes her life. And if it wasn't for the actress playing the lead girl, her name is, I don't remember, what is her name here? Jessica Roth, who plays the lead character. She really sells the story. If it wasn't for her, I don't think this movie would be good because I don't see anybody else pulling off her role in this movie of taking this character that you absolutely hate from the beginning of the movie because she is not a good person. And then by the end of the movie, you're rooting for this girl and you really come to really like her. But yeah, that's the extent of the story. I don't want to spoil it for you, Tom, if you want to ever watch it. Rook, I
don't have it, but
yeah, I think this would be right up Rookie's alley. Yeah,
I might try it out one of these days. It's I missed the first part of what you were talking about with it, but yeah, I remember that coming out, and it is it's kind of like a repeat kind of thing. Of course, Happy Death Day happens every day a bit, and she's got to keep on reliving the same type of thing, discovering who it is. As you said, that looks like one of the ones that I'm like, that could be good or it could be bad. But
yeah,
I guess in terms of like modern day stuff, because what year is Happy Death Day? Like 2 years ago or
2017, I think.
Or 17. there's like a little period where I was sort of paying attention to what was coming out, and I was like, oh, there's like a whole bunch of these type of films, and like, or I guess I was noticing horror films coming out. And I was Happy Death Day looked like one. I was like, maybe.
Yeah, it's good.
Interesting. Like, how do you figure out the guy who killed you, and then you keep on getting killed? That's like in a way, that's an interesting take on the, what do you call it when you like loop movies, or like when you
Groundhog Day,
every day, Groundhog Day,
time loop movies.
Time loop movies. Yeah. Like that's an interesting take on it. I haven't heard of a horror version of time looping other than Haunter, the one that I shared that one time. But this seems more like the slasher version of a time looper type of thing, sort of.
It is. Good night, Brian Barth. Thanks for hanging with us. No, honestly, if this guy Christopher Landon would have directed the Scream new ones first, they probably would be better movies, because it looks like he gets the movie, because this is essentially Scream meets Groundhog's Day. Legitimately, Scream meets Groundhog's Day. Even like some of the way the killer stalks her every day, it's the same.
Well, you could have just started with that, and then I would have been sold on trying to get this.
Well, I did say you weren't here when I.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I got up for a sec. Somebody at the door. Okay, yeah. I might actually check this one out then. That intrigues me a little bit more.
Yeah.
With that.
But it's a fun
I recently
movie.
saw a time loop movie. I wouldn't mind seeing another one.
They do something with this that I'm glad they do, because with the repeating the same day every day and basically copying previous movies like Groundhog's Day and all that, they have to come at it from original way. And I think they come at it from the best way they can, is where it's not just, hey, we're Groundhog's Day meets a Scream horror type movie. That's what we are. Just have fun with it. And that's what they do. They just have fun with it. It's a horror comedy like that, and it's fun, and it's got great characters. Like I said, the main actress sells the movie. It's her birthday, and she can't figure out why she dies every day. And they do a great thing where, like, even though the more she dies each day, it like leaves residuals on her body. So like at one point in time, they come up with a plan when she convinces somebody she's a living day that like, well, you got to keep investigating to find out who's killing you, so you may have to die every day for a while to figure out, cross people off your list. And so, like, by the time it gets to like so many people, like the montage of where she gets killed, it's like her body is on the insides is all beat up and stuff from dying so much, it like carries over. So I like that.
It has a drag over effect from
like it has an effect on her body. Like
okay, that
her body gets scarred.
It's a very different
from all that.
It's a very different element to the time loop. Okay.
Yeah, it's very
all different. Right. Say no more, man. I'll check this out.
No, I don't want to spoil too much.
Okay.
So I will say,
you got my attention now. All right.
I will say, the point of contention for this movie is the ending and the reveal. Some people don't like it, especially because of what happens before they reveal it. It has a nice little tie-up thing, and then I don't want to spoil it. But to me, it doesn't bother me the way the reveal is, because I think it just plays into what type of movie it is. This is not a movie that's supposed to be taken seriously. It's just like a fun slasher Scream Groundhog's Day type movie. And the lead, like I said, the lead actress sells it. She is perfect in this movie. I could not see anybody else but this woman doing this movie. And it's not a great, not everybody needs to see it. I know, but Rook, I think this movie would be right up your alley. I really do.
Well, I'm going to move that up on my list to be something that I check out probably this month.
And then the second movie, Happy Death Day to You, it's a good movie too. It's not as good as the first movie, but it moves on from slasher to sci-fi movie. And I don't, you have to see the first movie, and then I can explain what that means for the second movie. It's not like sci-fi, like space and aliens and stuff like that. Like sci-fi, they actually explain how she got stuck in the time loop and what that does in the second movie.
Right.
Because like, like with Groundhog's Day, if you've ever seen it, you've seen it. He spends his time repeating that day over and over until he becomes a good person.
Right.
So that's essentially what she's doing too. She has to become a good person as well, and also figure out who's killing her each day.
Yeah.
In the second movie, they explain how that happened, how she got in a time loop.
Okay. Well, maybe I'll check out both of them then and see
how
that goes as a package. Funny though, I've only seen some of Groundhog's Day, but I've seen Christmas Every Day for sure.
I've never
which was
seen
like that direct to Disney direct to TV Disney movie a long time ago. I think it's pretty much the same concept. Like an asshole kid has to relive it all the time. His little sister makes him say, "I wish it was Christmas every day," and then he laughs a every day, and then he's got to change and be better and whatever.
Yeah,
it's like and then Santa's like at the end for some reason, and it's like, oh, okay, whatever, it's Disney.
Yeah.
Disney direct to TV movie, yeah, makes sense.
I've never heard of that or seen
So
it.
I need to watch. Groundhog's Day is one of the ones where I've seen some of it, and like it would be on TV. I'd see a couple of scenes, and then I'd see a couple of different scenes another time, and then a few other scenes another time, but I never like watched a full sitting of Groundhog's Day.
Yeah, but I've never seen it. But Groundhog's Day is good. That one's it's a fun movie. It's not for everybody. The first movie was actually pretty successful. The second movie didn't do very well because, like I said, it kind of takes a left turn in the second movie, but still sticks to the same. The second movie still repeat a movie where they repeat the day over and over again, but it's alternate realities, sci-fi, and they move away from the slasher element of the film. So if you don't want to see part 2, you don't need to see part 2, and you're not missing
we'll
anything.
see. Well, it sounds like it recontextualizes.
I don't need to see part 1.
No, you don't need to see part 1, but
You
I
look
actually
like
like part 1. I like part 1. It's just goofy. I kind of use it as like a palate cleanser after I watched Terrifier, which I really love the Terrifier movies, but I kind of like, I need something a little sort of laugh at after watching the Terrifier movies.
Right.
So,
somebody in the chat's like talking about Uwe Boll has killed Tom's, like depressed him, made him go down and dip.
But yeah, we'll go to you, Tom. But you could totally see how Christopher Landon should have been the spiritual successor to the Scream movies if they were going to continue them, because he clearly got it. He clearly got the beats. It's just, I don't know. I have no interest in 7 anyways. But what do you got, Tom? What's your final pick for the night or whatever?
Well, this technically isn't a horror film, unless you ask Quentin Tarantino. Because then he might be like, yeah, it's horrible. I wasn't sure if I was going to like this movie. I wasn't even sure about getting it. But there was a Best Buy exclusive steelbook, so I was like, fuck it. And I have not seen it since it come out, and everybody's like, oh, you got to see the director's cut. You got to see the director's cut. And I see the director's cut is only like 2 minutes longer, I think. 3 minutes longer, sorry. And I ended up liking it better than I remember liking it. And I'm surprised.
I'm surprised too, because I remember what you were saying before about it. Natural born killers.
Now, that being said, I would love to read Tarantino's original screenplay that Warner Brothers won't allow him to release for some reason.
Weird.
Maybe it's Warner, maybe it's Stone. I don't know, but it's not like Stone has any sway anymore. Like Tarantino would have a lot more sway, which is even stranger.
Yeah.
But you get 3 discs. The director's cut is in 4K, and then you get the theatrical cut and the director's cut on Blu-ray. The scan looks amazing. Now I know some people have complained a little bit about certain things. Here's the thing about this movie. Oliver Stone shot a bunch of it on video and other various forms. I think 16 millimeter for another scene. So there's a lot of shots in this that are video, guys, blown up to 35 millimeter.
Oh boy.
Of course they're gonna look weird.
Yeah.
And they're gonna look shitty. Like, are you duh? But actually, I would say this video blown up to 35 millimeter and scanned in 4K to me looks a hell of a lot better than any up conversion of video I've seen. Yes.
Nice.
I think it actually has a nice resolution considering. Now, I don't know the process they use, but it reminds me, because it's funny, because I'm sure this is why Tarantino did this in Pulp Fiction, but he took it out. It's in the deleted scenes, but he may have been inspired by the shooting of this film, the way he did it, and it possibly was even in the script.
Did he cut out or?
I don't know what happened.
Or stop?
I thought maybe that was me. I thought I froze.
I thought he was doing a reveal.
My stupid fucking microphone just kicks out every once in a while. I'm getting a new microphone. I swear to God.
Okay.
I spent more on this microphone than I did a Blue Yeti, and it kicks out every once in a while, just at random.
You had
for
me
no
in
good
high
fucking
suspense.
reason.
You had me in high suspense, though. I was like,
I know, I
He
was
said
like,
at one
what's he
point,
gonna show?
if you're ever going to do, I'm not going to show anything now, because if you're ever going to do an independent film and you ain't got the money to shoot on film, he said you'd be amazed at how good high 8 VHS looks blown up to 35 millimeter. Because in Pulp Fiction, there's a scene where Mia's grilling Travolta's character, and it's all shot through high 8 and blew up on 35 millimeter. And they did the same thing here, basically.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm assuming what he's saying is true, because looking at this, I'm like, I actually don't look too bad. I mean, yeah, sure, it looks still like video. It looks like really good fucking quality video. It doesn't have any scan lines in it. Sure, it's not full like HD resolution, but it looks pretty darn good. So I can't complain too much about that. I mean, otherwise, what's film is obviously from the negative, so all that looks really nice. The movie itself, like I said, was actually better than I remember it. Maybe it's because we've had a lot of worse shit since then. That's by the standards, I guess. Because I just remember at the time seeing this movie and just going, "What in the fuck?" Because it was just weird, and because even like the one thing that turned a lot of people off, or some people actually liked his performance, but a performance that turned me off was Rodney Dangerfield. Because even he didn't understand what he was doing, he said. But because the way they shot it, now I get it. Watching, maybe that's one of the thing too, is it was a little bit too ahead of its time.
Mm-hmm.
Because I mean, it's kind of a Bonnie and Clyde kind of story, which is what Stone turned it into, when Tarantino's version was actually loosely based on another couple that were killers. And he didn't like how he glamorized the two of them. Was not his whole thing. He did not want that to be part of the story. And originally the story was supposed to go a little bit more from, and this is from my research, a little bit more from the reporter's point of view, which would be the Robert Downey Jr. character.
Mm-hmm.
Which, that's the thing. Robert Downey Jr. gives just a wild fucking performance in this fucking movie. And speaking of wild performances, people who give a lot of shit to Tommy Lee Jones about Batman Forever, he definitely molded that character here. It is like, this is Two-Face as well. My God.
Tommy Lee Jones was even in
Yes,
that
and
movie.
he is batshit nuts crazy. He acts just like he is when he's Two-Face.
Oh,
He's
man.
over the fucking top. But I mean, that's the thing. Everybody in this movie's acting over the top.
Yeah.
I mean, and Oliver's whole thing was he was trying to make it more about a comment on how kids were being influenced by violence and this constant intake of television and all that kind of shit.
Mm-hmm.
To where that's not quite what Tarantino was trying to say with it more. So his kind of view of the film was how media more so exploits that and the horrors of, you know, and the 24-hour news cycle and all that kind of business,
Mm-hmm.
which some of that's still there. But I see where Stone kind of muddled what Tarantino was trying to say. But a lot of Tarantino's dialogue is still here. You could tell this was meant to be a counterpart to a True Romance,
Mm-hmm.
obviously. But
Like
Mickey
the
and
darker
Mal,
counterpart.
huh?
Like the darker counterpart to
Exactly. Like, except for
Yeah.
you weren't supposed to like Mickey and Mallory at the end. That's
Yeah.
the whole thing. You weren't supposed to root for him as opposed to
where
you
they
know.
were rooting for their couple in True Romance.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. I've not seen Natural Born Killers in years. I remember my older brother really liked it, and I think maybe that's when I saw it. But I've not seen it in years. That's why I forgot Tommy Lee Jones was even in the movie. So I may have to pick this one up now because I'm interested. Maybe I'll get it a little more now myself, now that I'm older. So.
And I would assume Warner Brothers did the scan.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't say who did it, but and there's a 5.1 in stereo mix on here in both of them. Actually, I would say on this one I prefer the 5.1. It's a little bit more spacious and really goes with the psychedelic nature of the film. And there's a shit ton of music on this soundtrack. Like there's like, I was watching the credits and I'm like, holy shit. There's like 40 some songs are better in this movie. Jesus Christ. Like, I can't imagine how much it costs to get all those rights
Oh
to those
yeah,
songs.
man.
Holy
the rights,
shit.
it's insane.
And I'm
That
not
holds up some
exaggerating when I say
movies.
40 songs. Go on IMDb and look. I didn't count, but I'm willing to bet there's around 40 songs in this fucking soundtrack or more. That's insane for a movie that's only like 2 hours long.
That is insane.
Is it like in 5-second increments? Like what?
Well, some of it kind of, but it's like wall to the movie itself is just wall to wall. Like, I don't know if there's a score now that I think about it. There might not be a score. That might be why, because Tarantino probably wrote it in the script, because a lot of these songs you can tell were Tarantino songs that he picked. And they probably were directly right out of the script. And he never had a score for any of his films. For those who don't know, Tarantino didn't put a score in any of his films until The Hateful Eight. And funny enough, half that score is parts of The Thing that never got used.
Yeah, from Bella, what's his name? Oh, I can't think of his name.
Ennio Morricone, yeah.
Ennio, but yeah.
Because he was on his deathbed and he's like, I'll write you a theme or two and then you can use the rest of this.
Yeah.
Like, well, what's this? He's like, well, it's the unused shit from The Thing. He's like, are you serious?
I'm gonna use it.
Like, this is my thing.
Yeah. I want to say goodnight to Kurt Gunnarsson. He says Hitchcock once said, "If you see a gun in Act 1, chances are it will go off in Act 3." LOL. So with that, good night, everybody. Take care. Good night, Kurt Gunnarsson.
Yeah, well, I mean, there's that rule. I can't remember the exact rule it is, but it's you show a gun in Act 1, you can't not use it later.
Yeah, he's got to be shown in Act 3. Yeah.
You got to use it later or whatever it is. Yeah.
Yeah. But I have not seen this movie in so many. I know Yellow Flash was dying for this. I've not seen this movie in years. I'm gonna probably have to pick it up here soon. So yeah, I won't be able to get the Steelbook, but I'm picking it. I'm gonna pick it up.
Yeah, it was a lot better than I remember it. And again, it could be,
Oh,
yeah, you do have some modern stuff on there, like Boba Fett's pointing out, but you had Leonard Cohen. I think like Nine Inch Nails and Cowboy Junkies probably weren't exactly Tarantino's flavor, but you needed some new stuff to help sell the soundtrack too.
It's an empty movie, like for real.
Like the soundtrack itself doesn't have that many songs on it, but the movie, within the movie, there's just like tons and tons and tons of songs.
Yeah. Man, I forgot about that. It's been so many years. It's insane. It's insane, man.
Now, I can't remember if there's 2 Leonard Cohen songs or they play the same song twice, but yeah, there's at least 1 or 2 Leonard Cohen songs and a bunch of other stuff that I'm sure weren't exactly cheap either.
Oh, not because that, like I said, like with songs, that holds up so many movie releases. People don't even understand. Like with music, it holds up a release of a movie
more so too.
Yeah, and TV.
I just imported the German release of 21 Jump Street for that very reason.
Yeah, because it has
because on the US release they replaced all the music.
Yeah, and that's one of the reasons why we've never got the TV show Werewolf. Is like Shout Factory. You remember that show Werewolf from Fox as well?
Vaguely.
Early days. Shout Factory, Scream Factory was working on the whole series and almost had it done. And then there was this band who who refused to work with them for 2 songs, so they had to scrap the whole thing. It was put out by a French company a couple years ago, but it's good luck trying to find that. It's out of print.
It's a lot of songs, Steven. In fact, I started watching the second episode. I've had it's Anchor Bay back then. Through my Anchor Bay releases and listened to a few episodes in the beginning, and right off the bat, there's almost all the music's been changed from what I can tell. They have like real pop songs in there, but they're not the original songs. In fact, The Future's So Bright I Gotta Wear Shades has that song playing right away in the show, and I don't think it is on the Anchor Bay release. And yeah, there's a bunch of like modern day pop songs on there at that time that are just not on the soundtrack on the US release. And it's like, it pissed me off because there's a few songs on there I remember very well, being one, of course, The Future So Bright. And then there's a lesser known song by a band called Crash Boom Bang that they did a couple songs for one episode, and it starts off with one of their songs, and then Onion Skin is I think in there. If not, that's the song that starts in there. Very little known band, but a great fucking song. And there's some other great shit in the show that it didn't carry over because they couldn't pay for the rights.
Right. That's like even with like the Married with Children TV series, they like that using the Frank Sinatra Love and Marriage song when you watch the DVDs, sadly. But I definitely, I was looking through the soundtrack for A Natural Born Killer. That is insane how many songs are there. There was like I counted 27 for a minute ago, and there's more than that. So that's crazy. I didn't even realize that. Yeah, the
WKRP and Wonder Years were two shows that were also held up for years
music.
because of song rates.
Yep.
Because of course those had a lot of pop hits at the time.
Yeah. The
I
era.
think NYPD Blue and Miami Vice was another one that got held up for a while, but then I think that was one of the first ones they finally got a lot of them cleared up for.
Mm-hmm.
Because my Mill Creek release, as far as I can tell so far, has all the original music through the episodes I've been through. Like it even has, the Phil Collins and all that shit. So
in the air tonight. Yeah, I got the Mill Creek one too. It looks, so far what I can tell, it looks like the music's about the same. So.
Do they still have to change some of the music for WKRP, Tim? I don't mind if they have to do it for a few songs, but like
don't do it for the songs you remember. You're right.
Well, I mean, if like I wouldn't go like, oh look, if they had only changed if only 2 or 3 episodes of 21 Jump Street had been messed with, then I probably wouldn't have went out of my way to get that German version. But as soon as my buddy said, hey, Germany's releasing a new version of 21 Jump Street and it has all the original music on it, I'm like, I'm there, dude. Like,
yeah.
And I got it. And it wasn't even that expensive, really. I think I paid a fraction of what I paid for all the Anchor Bay disc sets. I think I paid less than, or roughly close to the same amount of what I paid for one of the larger seasons. Because the first season, I think, was only like $20 because it's only like 2 discs. Because it's only half a season. And then the second season, I think, was like 40 or 50, which is basically what I paid for the German release of the complete collection.
Right.
And they're different scans. I wouldn't say they're necessarily better quality per se, but they're clearly different scans because they're still only mastered on tape, even though they were shot on film. This is what pisses me off about that show is they need to go back and I wish Mill Creek would go back or somebody would go back and get that and do it on film. That and a lot of the other Stephen J. Cannell shows that haven't really gotten much love over the years here recently.
Yeah, they were all like the Stephen J. Cannell shows were all released by some weird company that's even less than Mill Creek. They were released by them. It was that
Mill Creek, I think, did 21 Jump Street, but I think their version is cropped in and it still has the same soundtrack as the Anchor Bay release. But if I remember right, I think it's cropped. If I'm not mistaken. If not, I'm thinking of Highlander. I could be wrong.
I think you're thinking of Highlander because I don't think Mill Creek did.
Somebody did 21 Jump Street here.
I know it's the same one that was they did Wise Guys.
And they crammed them. Oh, maybe what they were the ones I did that because I think I bought it and I took it back because they actually crammed. Because at that time I didn't have all the seasons and I'm like, oh, I'll just buy this. It's got all the seasons in it. So what if I'll have an extra copy of one? I think I had season 1 and 2.
Yeah.
And I noticed at the discs they had fucking 6 or 8 episodes crammed on each disc. I'm like, wait a minute. And I stuck it in and the quality was just horrendous. Like they just compressed the fuck out of them. And it was a 2.0 because I think the Anchor Bay ones have a 5.1 remix of the soundtracks, but they have that crap music on them. Because the show wasn't in stereo, I think, until later seasons, if I'm not mistaken. But anyway, that being said, Natural Born Killers, check it out.
Yep. I'm gonna have to.
I was trying to get through 21 Jump Street before you actually brought it up, but since it came out,
it happens.
It's gonna take me a while to get through it. There's 150 episodes.
Yeah, takes a while. VEI did 21 Jump Street, by the way.
Is that who it was? Okay.
VEI, yeah. But
I was thinking Highlander then.
Yeah. I wonder when they're ever going to finish that.
I know. I'm waiting and waiting and waiting.
How many years they announced it?
It's 2 years ago. And it's not like they didn't have proof that they were working on it.
Yeah, they showed a video of it.
And it's not like that was an up conversion. No. That was clearly an HD scan. So I'm like, I'm waiting.
Come on. But I think that Rookie was that it? Did we all do it? Each one?
We're done. I think I have one more.
You have one more?
Okay. Because we did Scream and then
if you got one more, go for it.
If you got one more, go for it. We'll finish it out.
Okay, sounds good. All right. This is an old classic here.
Debbie Does Dallas.
If only. School Rock, a special collector's edition.
Full screen. Get that shit the fuck out of here.
What can I say?
The fuck is wrong with
We
you?
gotta get you onto the Blu-rays and stuff,
That's-
or
no,
widescreen at least.
What I want to do sometime soon is like look through all of my DVDs and stuff that I have and see what ones I do want to actually see about upgrading to something else that
you know
I can
what?
spend a little
I
more
get-
money into.
We
So,
give you shit, but there's
Yeah.
probably quite a few of those full screen movies, believe it or not, that are open matte, which means you actually
Possibly.
see more on the top and the bottom. But yeah,
It's like sometimes I'm okay with full screen because so it depends on how much of how much it goes down or not, I guess. But I don't know.
see, that's the
Regardless,
thing is most people would bitch about the wider screen movies. It's like, well, that's when you're actually losing most of the picture.
right? No, I get you. It's
See,
like,
I was
I'm-
less picky and choosy with like certain movies, like if they wouldn't get a widescreen release and I knew they were an open matte, then I wouldn't give a shit so much. Or sometimes if I had
Right.
both versions and I knew it was an open matte, I'd actually watch the open matte version instead.
I got you. Now,
Especially when I
I've-
used to have an older TV, but yeah.
I've kind of adapted to both my whole life, so it's whatever, honestly, for me. But
Full
School
screen.
Rock is a fun little movie here. I just recently, for some reason, been on a Jack Black-ish kind of kick. Like I don't usually think that I like him that much, but when I'm watching
Seen Tenacious
some
D
movies,
yet?
I just saw that like 5 days ago for the first time. I love Tenacious D. That's hilarious as shit. He somehow is really good at making rock stuff fun concepts for films. Like I'm surprised he doesn't have like. Does he have more movies where he focuses on rock stuff? Because
Actually, he
makes
didn't.
it
I don't
so
think he
fun,
had so
like-
much to do with the creation of this movie. Believe it or not, his doofy friend in the movie,
Yeah,
the other teacher
yeah.
guy,
yeah.
he is the guy that actually wrote the movie.
And his
Fucking
name
kidding me?
is
No, I'm not. I'm
yeah.
serious.
And
I
his
mean,
name's
the way
something
that
White. His last name is White.
it's
He
so-
might
the-
even direct. I don't know if he directs it, but he definitely wrote it. It says it. Look in the credits there.
Yeah. Yeah, I forget.
He might
on
have
here,
directed it
but
too. I can't remember.
Maybe. I mean, this version has a bunch of stuff on here. Apparently, it's got a bunch of special
Mike
features
White.
on there, a
wrote
bunch
it.
of commentary.
Oh yeah,
a
that came
bunch
out in
of-
the height of
bunch
DVD,
of
so they
stuff.
made sure that it was chock full
This is a
of
packed
special features.
one.
In
right
fact,
here.
I think I still have a guitar pick somewhere that came with that DVD release
really
that says School of Rock on it. I shit you not.
It's kind of cool. But no, I mean, I don't know. For some reason, it just he makes it really fucking fun. Like in Tenacious D, that was kind of a cool little fun, weird movie. It was a weird movie, but it was fun. And
That movie has the
follows good,
distinction of being
like-
one of the last real original comedies.
Yeah.
I guess so. I mean, it did things I didn't expect. Oddly,
Well, and it's not a
had nice
concept that's
twist
really been
and-
done before. Exactly. I mean, there's been some that are kind of like it, but not like a guy pretending to be a fucking
Yeah, it's like
substitute
that. That's
teacher.
to be a loop, and it's like just funny. Like he gets beat up, and then he's like, "Yeah, you guys, go. You saved me." It's just like, so having him as a kid and like with his parents, and they're all like religious and stuff, and then having his adult voice singing in the parts for it and whatever,
Well, and it
something,
takes
"I want you
risks,
rock, why
right?
don't you suck a cock?"
It's a kind of comedy you could never make
I don't
now
know.
again. It was
Yeah.
almost like the closest thing I guess I could compare it to would be it's like Sister Act 2 meets the Bad News Bears. That's
You're
the
not
closest
wrong.
I can,
You're not wrong.
that's the
Okay.
closest thing I can compare it to.
I never thought about that, but
I
yes,
never
you're
would have
not
made those
wrong.
connections at all.
But it makes sense now, don't it?
Yes, it does.
I guess so.
Perfect.
It
Yeah.
has to be Sister Act 2, not
Yeah.
1.
Yeah,
Because
because
2 is the one where she's the teacher. See, that's the thing.
Sing.
You grab that aspect of it and her not actually being a nun and a teacher mixed with the kids acting like the ones kind of in like Bad News Bears because they all got fucking attitude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I just love it because he always seems to play these characters that are, not they're not the establishment, and it's like it's cliche as hell. But he brings an interesting personality to the role.
There's a little bit of Revenge of the
I-
Nerds in there too.
I
A little,
like-
just a twist of it.
Yeah.
A little bit, but I mean, he also like the amount of music that they play and the way that they present it makes you want to look up some rock songs. It seems like it makes you want to check it out. Like it's based on a genre, and they do make that part of the plot and everything. But it runs real nice, and the School Rock itself probably has more than one kind of like a layered title. With there being the song School of Rock, this is a school where they're going to rock, and it's like there's all these different things you can probably put with that. And like I don't know, just I freaking love it. It's one of those. This is one of the most rewatch movies. I think I did. It was one of the ones that was at my dad's house as well. He actually hated Jack Black. He's like, I hate that fat fucking whatever. It's like, my dad's what I call the vintage kind of guy. Never upgraded anything. He has all the old stuff. I mean, you guys would like him for that physical media wise, but he like never. He didn't like a lot of movies that we would like though, to be honest.
Yeah.
But this was a fun one. I don't know. I don't have much to say about it. I just really enjoy them. They're really good. This is probably one of the ones that I would put in the selection of films that I want to get a better version of for physical media to keep. I'm going to do one of these days, but I got to save up for money to do that kind of thing. But we got the movie now, so if I want to see it, it's there. But,
you ought to get the Tenacious D CD. It's a great album.
Okay, yeah, there's a lot of great songs in there. A lot of songs
not
too.
From the movie. It's not the soundtrack to the movie. It's their album they released before.
They like have an actual album.
They have a few albums and then they have the movie.
Yeah, and it was Tenacious D was actually a TV show on HBO.
Yeah, the movie is kind of a retelling of the TV show in a weird way.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
and a lot of it had to do
see that.
with. Like they ended up getting the deal for the movie because they were supposed to do a season 2 of the show, but then I think either HBO screwed them or something happened. Then they ended up getting the movie instead. So the movie has some of the shit so it has to set up a lot of the shit that was in the show, along with finish off what they were doing with the movie and stuff. And it's kind of a retelling at the same time with some new stuff added to it.
Mm-hmm.
Now there's some stuff like they couldn't use all the music, of course, like in the
right
show and shit, but like. The music was like their first album was great.
Mm-hmm.
It's the best one. After that, they get slightly better here and there, depend.
I still love the greatest song in the world. I love that.
That's what I mean. They couldn't use that in the movie yet. They do
the whole devil theme.
Yeah,
with the devil, because like the song that precedes the movie is called "The Greatest Song in the World," is where they sing about these two men walking down
from the show,
the show, walking down this road, and they come across the devil, and he's like, play this greatest song in the world, and so they played him the greatest song in the world.
It's a play on the devil went down to Georgia.
I thought it was. I was like, I think I've guitar. I played Guitar. I was like, I played Guitar Hero and stuff, and so around that area, and I think the School of Rock was around 2003. Like when it was around when
song in the world.
It was around when Guitar Hero.
This is a tribute.
He said, "Be you demons? No, we are but men. Rock. Ah! I love that.
Exactly. You can make something that could sound clunky.
They've had like 4 or 5 albums now, though.
Yeah, I love that album though. That's
if you include the soundtrack,
I wish that there were more people that had the energy that Jack Black brings to it. Like even if I would have thought that Tenacious D and School Rock would have been like his babies that he made.
I know, right?
Yeah.
Well, Tenacious D is.
He brings it out so much. Like
Tenacious D is all him and Kyle, but in fact, Tenacious D predates him being famous.
Mm-hmm.
I became a fan of him and Tenacious D before everybody knew who he was. Because he was in a really old, like a dumb straight to video, stoner comedy. I can't even remember the fucking name of it now, but he actually does like 2 or 3 of the songs in there, and of Tenacious D early stuff. And then my buddies and I discovered his shit online through the Spider-Man song. What they would do is when they're on stage, and you might know about this, Greg. This is only something they would do on stage, and they would change it every fucking time. So like Jack would do the Spider-Man, friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. You sit there and play it on the guitar, and then all of a sudden, one of the dudes would come out dressed as Spider-Man, and he just start narrating whatever Spider-Man's doing.
Spider-Man
does a flip and he falls on his ass. Yeah, Spider-Man. Spider-Man's tried to save the bitch, but he won't get laid. Just shit like that. It just keeps on going. He just makes up lyrics every time they would do it completely different. We had a collection of like 15 different live show recordings that people had done over, a course of a couple of years. At one point, I'd have to dig for it somewhere. I don't even know if you could find them online. Maybe on YouTube now, but it's still part of their act. They still do it, but it's only part of the live act. And then they had Sasquatch show up all the time. So the Sasquatch bit was always something that would come from their live shows. And then, so the live shows just kind of morphed into the HBO show, but that all happened at the same time Jack Black kind of took off as an actor, right? Because he had done like High Fidelity and a couple other movies right in a row that really kind of put him up there, you know, to where, because he would struggled as an actor. He was in bit parts in like Waterworld that got cut out. He was in Demolition Man for just a bit part. And he had a lot of bit parts in movies here and there. Cable Guy, he had a bigger part in, believe it or not, you know, and stuff like that. So like he was kind of raising up the ranks until he got to that point, and then he blew up a little bit, and then he started making movies like School of Rock was really the first movie that really set him off as far as a big actor.
I can feel who doesn't like School of Rock? Like it's I don't know, like
it was well received in the time. In fact, that movie was one of the things that came between one of my exes and I.
Wow.
And it's not because she didn't like the movie. She loved the movie. Here's the story. We were supposed to go see School of Rock. She looked at the time wrong.
Oh no.
And we didn't want to wait another fucking hour to see School of Rock, or she didn't, let's say. And I'm like, fine, pick a movie to go to that we can see within the time frame. She picked Under the Tuscan Sun.
Oh.
It was the worst 2 fucking hours I ever spent in my life in a movie theater. And believe you me, I never let her forget that. And after we got done watching School of Rock, I said, I fucking hate you now.
Ruined it.
I'm like, because this was an amazing, because I don't think we ever got to see it in theaters, I think, from my recollection. I think we just never managed going. And between it just, yeah, it was one of those things where that was kind of near the end of our relationship.
That sealed the deal.
So much
it was one of the things that really kind of set me off, and it kind of got to a point. Well, there was more to the problems than that, but like, yeah, it was just, that was one of the things that kind of got me to a point. I'm like, you know what? We clearly have completely different tastes in films.
Yeah. Real quick, Snowdub in the chat. What's up, buddy? Good seeing you around. He says, so Rookie, now that you have seen more horror movies, do you still feel The Thing is one of the best? I mean, yes, I still think The Thing is one of the best, but now there's a lot more that I could put into a top type of category. Scream, of course, is up there with that. I have to think about other ones that I would put in the top. I saw The Blob recently. I surprisingly like The Blob quite a bit. I don't know why. That one just really felt. I guess I was expecting it to be really, really stupid, but it was a good type of horror. It's fine. It's creepy. How do you beat this thing? It's just around. It's created by the people. Spoilers. It's like. I don't know. I really liked it. It was a good
and to be fair to Six, because I said it was the worst experience I had in a movie theater. Well, here's the thing: if I had watched it at home with her on TV, I probably wouldn't have hated it so much, because I'd have known I probably would have got laid afterwards. I wouldn't have bitched.
It prevented you from seeing School of Rock,
but it prevented me from seeing School of Rock, what I really wanted to fucking see.
Yeah.
And I was dead set on going to see it, and that really pissed me off. And then, yeah, just the fact that I had to sit. It's not the kind of movie that I would want to sit in a movie theater for. Right.
I got you. No,
that's my main thing. Is like I'm sitting here thinking, we paid $20 to see this shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I feel you there.
I would have rather sat through whatever fucking Disney movie. Right. Just because I would have felt like I got my money's worth. Like, this is something we could watch on fucking Hallmark, is what I kept fucking saying through the movie tour. So I knew I wasn't going to get laid anyway afterwards, because I done.
Yeah. It's over. It's all downhill from there.
Yeah.
Because after about 20 minutes, I'm like, is anything going to fucking happen in this movie?
One day, they're not going to bust out in a rock song.
Because I had no idea what it was, and I should have known. I could kind of tell from the poster, but I'm like, all right, whatever. I don't generally hate romantic comedies. Only it's not much of a comedy. It's just a boring ass piece about a chick who gets divorced, has a midlife crisis, and decides to move to Tuscany. and that's the story. And she falls in love with a dude down there. Wow. Riveting. I'm so glad and that's what I said to her. I'm so glad we sat 2 hours in a theater to see that. Fucking A, my God, was that riveting.
Damn. I had a similar experience with the different thing. That's for another time, but it's Snowdub. Yeah, if anything, you guys, seriously, thanks Snowdub for getting me to watch The Thing, because I mean, FanZcene pushed me a little bit here and there, but Snowdub like practically held me down to make me watch it. And like, yeah, I finally watched it, and I was just like, wow, that was freaking amazing. What the hell? And then that like opened it, and then FanZcene threw me They Live next, and I was like, okay, there's some life here. All right, horror is not what I thought it was, because prior to watching The Thing, I had a just bad taste in my mouth with horror films. So thanks to Snowdub, I'm now more open to watching them, and I've watched a whole bunch since then. And FanZcene's been helping me as well with suggestions and whatnot.
You gotta understand, with
Tom
horror,
here,
with horror, you can do anything. You can do comedy, action, drama, sci-fi, anything in horror lends itself to. So it's really good.
That's true, but I mean, I'm gonna relook at a lot of ones that I didn't like in the past because I might think differently now, though.
And plus, now you're schooled more on film now than you were when you started. So now you can appreciate them and see them at a different angle and come at them differently and enjoy them better.
Exactly, or I can more properly criticize some of them, if anything. If I do have a problem with them, they can point out whatever it is. But yeah, so far I think
Diane Lane.
So far, I'm liking them. You guys, if you guys want to suggest horror films for me to check out, I mean, leave some in the comments here on the Physical Media Show. Leave some comments, and I'll see if I can check them out. But let me know ones you guys want me to see.
On your grave.
Oh,
let's see. Everybody's gonna list like 1,000 things. It's like pick like 5. Pick like 5. And
these are must-sees.
The Toolbox Murders.
That one's not so. Yeah, no, I'm trying to think of the really, the Cannibal Holocaust.
Oh God, Tom, no, not that one.
I'm gonna get him into the good shit here.
I feel like maybe on the Halloween episode, you guys come to me with like must see, or like a week before or something, must sees for sure that I will like must watch.
Have you seen Texas Chainsaw Massacre?
That's on my list to watch for next year. Is what I had. For those,
we got to figure out what we're going to do for the Halloween, because like the past 2 Halloweens, we've talked Halloween. Because like 2 years ago, Tom and I we got the Scream Factory Halloween 4K sets, and then last year it was all Halloween Ends and Halloween Kills. So this Halloween we got to figure out what horror movies we're going to talk when it comes to the Halloween special.
Well, I'm sure I'll watch the Halloween films, and that's what I was saying, man.
Yeah, that's what, because we repeat them.
Snowdub, it's not that bad. Oh, Dead Alive, that's another one you should see.
Oh, Dead Alive. Oh God.
Okay, I'm here to kick ass for the Lord.
I love that movie.
The lawnmower scene is the best.
I know, right? When he's going to the house, he's like,
and you all are like, Cannibal Holocaust, Jesus, Tom. It's like, oh yeah. And then I say Dead Alive, and you're all like, yeah.
Yes.
It's like that thing is blood everywhere. Like that's like Evil Dead times 10.
Well, the thing is, like with Brain Dead, Dead Alive, whatever you want to call it, it's Peter Jackson. It's got some funny moments and stuff, and it's good. Cannibal Holocaust just feels too real. Just way too real. I mean, they literally actually thought it was real.
Wow. That's crazy. That's crazy.
Faces of Death. I still can't believe they're remaking Faces of Death with the guy from fucking Stranger Things.
Why?
That's crazy.
I mean, why don't you just telegraph that it's fake now?
Exactly.
It's like, what's the point?
I
mean, that was the whole kind of thing about when we were kids. It was just kind of a rite of passage, and we didn't find out till later on that it was fake.
Right. Honestly, I was like, my brother's like, we got Faces of Death.
I was just gonna say that's that CD thing. Your buddy or a bigger older brother or an older cousin or something either had or got their hands on, and you're like,
I knew this kid. He gave me this tape.
Watch Faces of Death.
It's like, no, I really.
It's like the only thing close to porn that wasn't porn that like kids were like, ooh, like.
And it's funny too because like I really didn't know it was, fake until years later. Because I remember
that's the whole thing, right? Like you get through that movie and then you're like, you're a man, right? Like,
yeah. Because like there's still like in my head the one scene I remember, I don't remember which one it was, but it's like a guy who supposedly died in a motorcycle crash, and his head is like splattered all over at this.
That actually might be real because there's some of that shit in there that is real.
And so I don't know if that scene was fake. That's like still burned into my head.
My understanding is that the accident footage, the operation footage, and the animal scenes are real.
Ugh.
That's my understanding. The rest is all special effects.
Yeah. But man, that motorcycle scene is just like it's still in my head. I don't even like thinking about it.
Oh, and I think maybe the 2 or 3 self-offing scenes might be real too.
Mhm.
I don't want to say the word, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, I know what you mean. But yeah, Rook, go ahead, check out Faces of Death and Cannibal Holocaust. And I Spit on Your Grave.
6 didn't even know it was fake till this week, I guess. Yeah. And they've had like 8 of those bastards by now or more, actually. I think it was in the teens at one point, wasn't it?
Yeah, they were way up there.
Yeah, I'll do a video soon listing all the
Well,
horror
let's be
films
clear.
that
Like I
I've
said, it's
seen.
not all fake. Some of it is. Most of it is, but yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll do a video talking about the horror films that I've seen, so that if you guys in the chat want to give suggestions, so that I can start upping my knowledge a little bit more on horror stuff, then I'll see about checking some of those out. And yeah,
Well, I guarantee you'll get some suggestions from me and Tom this month.
I feel like, okay, it starts with 2 or 3, and then you'll have like 50, and I'm like, I have things to do. We'll see. Like, what's the ultimate list for me? But I should put a video with the ones I've seen first, so you guys don't have repeats
Probably
or something, because I have seen more than you'd think, but not as much as you'd want.
All right. Well, I guess that's it for tonight. I know we took up a lot of time talking Scream, but that'll be the final talk until part 4.
Yeah. Until the next rant, just like the Scream films. Yes, there's always more.
So, I'm definitely going to check out the Hitchcock movie. I highly recommend the Terrifier movies. It's been a couple days since I watched them. And the more I think about them, the more I really, really enjoyed them. I don't know what it is. It's just like something new that I haven't been excited about something new in a while. So I really enjoyed them. But I'm definitely checking out Hitchcock. I want to get what is that? Natural Born Killers. I haven't seen. I want to get Rebel Without a Cause. I haven't seen School of Rock in a while, so I may watch that after.
I'm waiting because I'm pretty sure we're gonna get a 4K of that.
Yeah, aren't we supposed to, or did they just release a steelbook, didn't they?
Yep. That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
And that's probably a decent seller for Paramount. And Paramount, they got no problems with releasing. That's one thing I will give them. They may not be the best of everything that they release, but they ain't afraid to release tons of physical media. Like, how many different editions of Scream have we gotten now?
Right.
With every release, they have made sure that we've gotten various box sets. They got a new trilogy box set out now with the 4K of the first 3. It's called the original trilogy or whatever. So they have had no problems with re-releasing and re-releasing and re-releasing and releasing and really. Sure, some of the double dips have pissed me off, but we've gotten a little smart to their game too. So, if you don't have it already, it's out there, but just keep in mind that probably means there's going to be a
Paramount has this habit of like they'll release something like School Rock on a steelbook Blu-ray, and then 6 months later, here's the 4K.
Yeah.
So but thank you guys for all hanging with us. Everybody in the chat, everybody that's watching. Thank you, Tom. Thank you, Rook. Make sure you guys check out Rookie's channel over on the Rookie Critic and Tom's channel over at Midnight Says After Dark, Midnight Says Radio. And we'll see you guys next week for the Physical Media Show. And as always, you don't have to go home, but you can't stay here.
How you doing? Bitches leave.